Thank you, everybody. We will first turn to citizen questions and comments. Anything, Doug?
No, I'm good.
All right.
He just told me he didn't enjoy the Patriots game, so that's the only comment he's gonna talk about.
We can put that in the minutes. Next up, speaking of minutes, we have none to review, so let us jump straight into new business, which starts with the common victualers license, the renewals for 2026.
Or the announcements.
Oh, did I completely miss the
Oh, we
announcements?
did, yeah, you did.
All right, let me go back in
Trying
time.
to deprive Michelle of her.
Let's go
Moment in the sun.
with the announcements.
All
Great
right.
idea.
The meeting is being recorded by the recording clerk for the purpose of taking minutes. Is there anyone else present who wishes to record the meeting? Seeing none. To attendees of the meeting, a sign-in sheet is being circulated. The board asks that you please sign in to indicate your attendance at today's meeting. The select board meetings can be viewed by going into the cable videos icon on the homepage of the town website. And lastly, on Monday, December 15th, the board will hold a meeting at 7 p.m. The next select board meeting next select board work session will be on Monday, December. I did it again. It's the wrong date. Okay, I'm just gonna go to my hard copy here. Select board meetings, let me read this again. On Monday, January 12th, the board will hold a meeting at 7 p.m. The next select board work session will be on Monday, January 5th at 6 p.m. Please check the meeting postings on the town website for information to either join via Zoom or for the location of that particular meeting or work session.
Thank you very much. So going back, no citizen questions or comments, no minutes, so now we can jump straight into the
Now
new
we get
business. Starting with the common victualers license for 2026. I assume we'll turn this over to Mr. Hartunian.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, everyone. Each year, we go through our internal processes to inspect for our common victual. That includes the Board of Health, the Fire Department, and our zoning and building inspector. There are 9 of the 10 which have passed for inspection, which is very typical for those establishments, and been signed off by all 3 of those entities that have done those inspections. Separately, and after the first 9 that we'll consider, we'll discuss the 10th one and where that one stands. That's Osteria Pizza.
Okay.
Now, what I couldn't remember, I know we briefly talked about them, did we accept any of them last time, or did we table the entire subject?
We tabled
2 weeks ago.
Yes, so we brought up that it was on the agenda, but we tabled it so we can get final inspections on a couple of the last property, last
Thank you.
entities.
Thank you for reminding me of that. Any questions or comments?
So everything's pretty routine on these except for a stereo, which you're gonna tell us about.
Correct.
Was there any need on these to kind of make the terms and conditions symmetrical like we talked about on some of the other alcohol licenses? You know, we talked about, well, if we're gonna try and always have an 11 o'clock cutoff or 10 o'clock cutoff. Is there any areas in these victualers licenses where we're trying to get symmetrical terms and conditions?
Is there any examples of anything that's an outlier that you want to consider, or?
He's answering your question with a question.
It's an open-ended.
Let's call it deflection. No, I honestly, Kevin, I didn't notice anything.
Okay. These are the ones that are basically typical year over year, since any of the establishments received their licenses. Haven't had any or permits, we haven't had any negative feedback, and they're pretty typical. The conditions, I believe, that are outlined in each of them.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I would also comment the fact that the only one on this list that appears to be in need of that possibly is Evermore, because they do events that could carry on longer depending on the kind of party they're having. The rest of them are basically established businesses that have business hours.
Well, there's the Willowdale and then there's the Commons.
Is
Those are
Willowdale on
both
there? I'm sorry,
wedding events.
Willowdale was another one, okay.
Commons.
Okay. stand corrected. I do have a question. You mentioned 9 out of 10, and I see 11, so tell me what we're talking about. We know that Osteria is a problem, but is there one other of the 10 that is different or something?
You darn, you can count, look at that.
I have 9.
On the list, the Excel list, it looks like there's 11.
There's 11 on the Excel list. I mean,
What's the pizza?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 11 individual license
Oh, sorry.
documents also.
We just popped Bagelman on.
Bagelman's not on the list, that's
Sorry. You just wanna pop that one off.
You're missing another one.
Bagel Bin is here.
Does that include Osteria in that list?
Yes.
Yep.
That's the 11.
Oh, that's right, okay.
So I would just say, my apologies, I was looking off a different sheet, but this Bagel Bin is, yes, there is in fact 10, thank you for that, Mr. Jackson, great catch.
I don't think it's a big deal, but I just,
No, we gotta get it right.
Thank you.
Oh,
Isn't
yeah.
there 11?
One of them we're discussing.
one of them we're discussing
One
tonight.
of them's
10
an outlier.
ordinaries
Yeah.
and 1 unique.
10 are clean, I
One
think.
extraordinary.
Clean. 10 are clean, I think. One has whiskers on.
Anything different than last year other than the dates? Okay, that's easy. And then my only other question, and this is being real needly. Topsfield Functions LLC DBA The Evermore and Pierce Farm, or is it the Evermore at Pierce Farm?
At Pierce Farm.
Sweet.
That's what it says on here.
How'd you get one with all that right now?
This is why she
So-
bought one.
Do we want to discuss Osterio before we have a motion?
Or we could separate two motions, maybe, have,
I have a motion for 10 of them, if you'd like to hear it.
Mhm.
Vote to approve the 2026 common victualler license renewals for the following establishments in the town of Topsfield with an expiration date of December 31st, 2026. Topsfield House of Pizza, Bagel Bin Deli, New Meadows Golf Club, Essex Agricultural Society, Coolidge Hall and Topsfield Fair, Willowdale Estate, Dunkin' Donuts, Topsfield Commons, Topsfield Bake Shop, Alex's Roast Beef and Seafood, the Evermore at Pierce Farm.
So,
any other discussion on these 10? Alright, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, let's move on to number 11.
So the last establishment that has come in previous years for their common victual license and also liquor license is Osteria Pizza on Route 1. Last 4 or so years, we've had to have special meetings and special accommodations to accommodate this establishment due to different reasons. But we have a carryover reason this year from last, I think to be denials of 2 of the 3 entities that did the inspection. Health has signed off on the area, the kitchen area that passed the necessary inspection for common victual. However, from a zoning perspective, you remember last year there was an illegal apartment that was built and being used. And we postponed the vote multiple times or temporarily gave them extensions. They have still not filed a complete building permit for the space. That said, they did go through the process of getting a special permit. Because of the number of housing units in that mixed use space, the commercial and the multiple units, it exceeded what would be allowed by right, so they had to get a special permit, which they did receive. The next step was to then file a permit. They filed a residential permit, which was incomplete and also should have been a commercial. So our building inspector worked with the owners. They resubmitted their application as commercial, and they were then told that they have to use a contractor, a licensed contractor to make that submission if it's commercial by bylaw. And so a homeowner or building owner can't on a commercial space on a build out. So they then resubmitted again an incomplete application using a licensed general contractor in the spring. And subsequently, we reached out multiple times, but no additional information was provided. More recently, when they failed the inspections from the building inspector and zoning enforcement officer, as well as the fire department, due to inconsistencies with what was submitted for a floor plan for the building purposes, but in my opinion, most importantly, was the fire life safety not being completed for the apartment to get the permit issued. I know Chief Collins Brown has been working like the entire team to try to get everything in order. We are waiting right now for some additional information for the fire safety component before the building inspector would be comfortable. The owners did come in. I went and visited them on Thursday and spoke to them personally, letting it past Thursday, letting them know that they had failed and they needed to come in. They did, as I indicated this morning. They provided part of the information, the building, the site, the plan, part of the plan that was missing, but they still have not provided the proper fire materials so that the fire department can move it. So we are working with them to try to make sure they are compliant. Public safety and safety of all is number one thing we do every single day. And currently, the idea of someone living in that illegal apartment until it's made legal through the proper permitting and building it to specifications that are required by building code is really important, especially when you have a commercial space above it.
So there's nobody in there now?
We believe there is a very good possibility that someone is living in that apartment. And so my recommendation to the board, in consulting with the team a few times over the last week or so, is baseline would be requiring in the next handful of days basically requiring them on the pains of perjury affidavit, thank you.
Not an affidavit.
Not an affidavit, an affidavit that they sign on saying that there is no one living in that legal apartment until it is permitted, inspected, and a certificate of occupancy is issued. And in addition to that, as they work through the process, they are back at the table, and I think part of it is that there's now urgency because their livelihoods, their business is at risk if not receiving the permit to continue to operate the common vic and the liquor. Would be if the board would consider giving them strict timelines to adhere to the requirements of the fire department, building department, and making sure that they have that signed off on appropriately by a certain date. I think 30 days is something we talked about today as a potential date to consider for them to be in compliance.
So are you asking to approve the license here on a 30-day deadline? Or are you saying you're gonna give them 30 days and have some other action, some other restrictive action if that doesn't happen in 30 days?
I think if we were to, it would be my suggestion to the board to consider issuing them a continuance for 30 days on their common vic and liquor license, requiring them to be fully compliant to make the apartment legal before anyone lives in it, and to have them sign, most importantly in my mind, an affidavit confirming no one will be living in that apartment until it has a certificate of occupancy. There is fire rated walls and ceilings that really those things need to be addressed and need to address soon. As those are the things, if there was ever an unfortunate incident where something was left on and burned and people above or the person below could, if they're living there, could be subject to grave danger.
So our January meeting, if we look at the 12th, it's not quite 30 days. If they don't meet the conditions, they can come in on the 12th into this meeting and plead their case.
I believe if they're working in good faith, and they commit that no one's living in that illegal apartment, I believe that if they are doing everything they need to, we believe they can be compliant and need more time, another week or two, that we could extend that to the next meeting, which is 2 weeks thereafter, from the 12th to the end of January. And allow them enough time if they need it to become compliant.
Do we know what's omitted on the fire regulation side, or
Yes,
or do we not know just because they haven't filed the permit?
we've been very clear with what we need, and it's been very,
Is it
Cloudy,
paperwork
what-
or is it paperwork or is it equipment, protection devices, et cetera?
Paperwork to start to show where the protection devices should be. And it's a commercial property, so I have been dealing with the contractor that has taken out the permit for the project. So that's where that's who I'm working with now. He understands what he needs to do.
So at this point, you're not sure whether all the protective devices are in place or not,
That's correct.
and we're not sure if somebody's living there. I mean, if we thought everything was in place and it's just a matter of doing paperwork and there was nobody living there, I would say, let's go with the benefit of the doubt for 30 days. But, I mean, we went through this last year
we did.
That's the
extensively.
thing.
This is deja vu.
Every year.
And didn't we give them 90 days at that point, and then that came and went, and we're at the end of the year? Is that right?
So they've been, it's been a challenge. I know that it's been a challenge.
So
There's 10 other businesses in town
from
that
my
we've never had.
perspective, they've had a year and 15 days to comply with this.
Yeah, I think that's pretty legit.
I'd like to make some comments. I'm willing to forgive anybody if they're ignorant. I'm not willing, and give them the benefit of the doubt. I am not,
Try,
and I am not, and try. I am not willing to give somebody the benefit of the doubt that is arrogant. Now, this guy has been a problem ever since he moved in there, because he originally wanted to put a used car lot on that piece of property, and we said you can't do that, because we didn't want to, we didn't want to bother the people across the street and make it look like a used car dealership, okay? So he agreed with that, but there's always been 2 or 3 junk cars sitting in that lot. He put a fence around it so people couldn't see, but instead of a used car lot, now it's a junkyard. Okay, this guy is a natural-born scofflaw, in my opinion, and the sooner we end that license, the better off the town will be.
Okay, so you're coming down on this with a definitive position.
Kick the guy out, and I really don't like the idea, because we all work on trying to increase the economic status and the basis for the town, but this guy is a natural scofflaw. We've been through this for a year and 15 days or something, and it's gonna go on and on and on. The time that we've wasted with this guy is beyond.
And actually, just looking back, we actually gave them an extra 45 days. They didn't do anything at the end of those 45 days. So we gave them another 45 days. And then I think we lost the plot. What?
Yeah, I think, and I'm not prepared to assign any personal attributes to him personally, but I think
You're more
this is,
polite than
this
that.
is too much of an omission to say, look the other way for 30 days and say, you know, we'll take it on good faith that you're gonna make it happen.
I'd be willing to do it one last time, because they've got 15 days on this permit, right? And then, but then we're in the middle of budget season. How do we?
15 days is, get the contractor in and call up the chief and put in the smoke detectors or whatever it is, and that's gonna be done in 15 days.
I think the challenge is we don't have a meeting between now and the end of the year. And that's why the idea was to give it some openness to say, if you are compliant with this, your permit automatically renews in 30 days, and then or you could give them 2 weeks. I mean, I made up that date just to see what, based on conversations I had with them, based on conversations with the team, it could be 15 days, it could be 30, it could be more, it could be less, I'm not sure. But we came up with a date that we thought would be reasonable enough, especially around the holidays.
Yeah.
For both our team to do inspections, as well as for them to become compliant.
So-
But they also need to do the work and have final sign off and a CO.
So our next meeting after this is January 8th?
Next meeting's the 5th of January at the work session, and then the week after that.
Next meeting is the 5th, okay.
So their permit as it is will expire on the 31st unless we do something about it. I propose then we give them till the 5th.
Noontime.
Okay. 3:42 p.m. Eastern.
The 5th is the work session, right?
It is a work session.
It's the first
So-
Monday of the.
They are closed on Mondays. So I don't know if that helps. Doesn't matter. Yeah, they're closed on Mondays, so they should be here.
I think it's important to be lenient, which we have been.
Mhm.
But I also think it's important that we support our building inspector and our fire chief who are trying to do the right thing. And the more we ignore this, the more we're saying to those people, well, we don't care about those rules and regulations anymore. Well, we do care, and we should care.
It's not like they came in with a permit with one signature and they need two. You know, we don't know if the right prevention equipment is in there. You know, and we don't know if somebody's living there. That sounds like grounds for suspending what they've got, not extending it.
And I think that's the important part, is that if something were to happen, it's been over a year of us asking for them to at least prove to us that it's a safe building.
So what happens if the 31st comes, they don't have their stuff put together, they don't get a new one, they have to shut down the business, right?
We'll
And
be
then-
chasing them for that, but yes.
And then essentially then it would be up to the police chief and fire chief to say, hey, you can't be open, because they'll probably try and stay open. And then is it, you have to apply for a brand new permit? Is that different than getting an extension, or these are new permits?
So we-
because-
We've never not issued, right? So it would be a little bit of a learning curve for everybody, at least in my time here. I think what, as you can see, we have a lot of people who put in the work to make sure everything's in order. We do appreciate that. It makes everyone's lives a lot easier and makes sure the spaces are safe. In the event that their permit lapses or is not renewed, they would likely have to reapply for the common vic, and likely the liquor license was just associated with the common vic. I'm not sure what ABCC is gonna require, if it's a full new application or just a pause and then a renewal. I know that I don't know if we do not issue it and they try to open, I think we'd be talking with KP Law in issuing formal cease and desist through the courts to have them stop open, we'd ask them to basically, we would tell them they have to stop. If they continued, we'd probably post the space presumably by the building inspector, and the building inspector would then have to file a cease and desist with the courts to prevent them from being open. It's a good chance the courts they usually try to give some grace, like we're talking about giving them a period of time, even if they've been in non-compliant for as long as they have, as many years in a row. That court would probably say, you got, give them 6 months to be compliant, or some time, I don't know what that would look like. So we'd probably spend some legal time, legal money, going through the process, and ultimately end up somewhere similar to what is being suggested. Typically, if we're able to work with them, most people work with you back if you spend the time, even if it's a lot of time, to try to help them become compliant. But that's usually the most efficient means from a staff standpoint to try to address an issue, is to try to hold their hand. And that's why I was up there Thursday last week and had a good conversation with them. They showed up today, told them show up on Monday. They showed up on Monday. Have they been able to fulfill the things that we've asked them for a year to do? No. But they have communicated, and more recently, now that again it's getting to the deadline, they're starting to pick their heads back up and say, what do I need to do?
They tell me if this is wrong. They communicated because you went and knocked on their door.
100%.
They've ignored the letters we sent them.
According to them, they thought they were compliant, but they never had a building permit issued, and obviously they've never had a final inspection.
And they knew this was an issue a year ago.
So they did the special permit when we asked them to do. We said the process incorporates needing a special permit, and that's one step. They received that. They went through this. They spent the money to put in the newspaper. They went through the process of presenting to the ZBA. ZBA issued them a special permit for this apartment. We then tried to work with them, but what's been difficult is they're trying to do the work themselves, and they did it preemptively before coming in for a permit. And so a lot of what they've done might have to be redone, and it really falls on the person who pulled the permit, which is the contractor, which chief is communicating with. So I'm communicating with the owners, but if there's any discussion about them becoming compliant, that's on both the fire department and the building department to ensure that piece of it, working with their contractor, which I think will eliminate a lot of the excess noise that we're hearing when we
Okay.
do discuss it with them.
Well, I got a different idea, spaghetti as well. I'm willing to be somewhat flexible, but I'm willing to be flexible in, if I got called into a meeting, a special meeting, early next week or the week after, to just have a vote on this one thing and sign off on this one thing, cause they rushed ahead and did it, I would be willing to do that. I don't know about everybody else. I don't know what your vacation plans are respectively.
I'm around. A quick question though, just because we talked about this earlier. We're talking about the common vic license right now.
The liquor is tied to it, so if you don't have a common vic, your liquor license goes away.
Yes, so going back to your question, if we looked at the liquor license and we did approve that, so they wouldn't have to go jumping through hoops for that, but we declined the common vic license, we're isolated to just that. Do you know what I'm saying?
That is our recommendation, is that we do vote their liquor license through with the other establishments. But if the common vic is not voted through or suspended or temporarily provided, if it at any point ceases, they can no longer serve alcohol automatically, so.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not
So,
in
but is that-
favor of approving the liquor license and not the vic license.
You are, sorry?
I'm not in
Not in
favor of
favor.
that.
Well,
Of approving liquor but not vic.
That seems our leverage.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
probably.
cause then they
what
just become a bar.
well, no, they
No,
can't
they
use their
can't.
liquor license if they don't have a common
why
vic, that's what I was
approve
going at. That's
Because
what I was getting at.
it's I think to remember Mercy Link in speaking for you, so I apologize, but
No,
I
go
think
ahead.
the point is, if they get their common vic and they have the liquor license, they can serve. The minute the common vic, even if this is approved, the liquor license, the minute the common vic goes away, the liquor license ceases to be available to them until the common vic comes back.
Yeah, so why not just do them both together rather than having this complicated two dominoes game going on that they may or may not understand.
It almost automates it in a sense, like, cause one's tied to the other.
So yes and no, one is tied to the other for restaurants, and I totally understand where you're coming from, Bob. So if you deny their common vic license and their alcohol license, I would have to report the denial of the alcohol license to the ABCC for a denial from the select board, which they can appeal. Everyone has a right to appeal anything. But then we get into, if they do become compliant, the select board issues the common victular license, they're gonna have to go through a whole new renewal process for the alcohol pouring license, and we still haven't heard back from ABCC about Evermore.
Well, I'm not saying we should deny their license. I'm saying I'd rather not act on it at this point, when there's still time left in the year and still time for them to get straightened out.
But can I also ask, this is logistically, both of their permits expire on the 31st. What we're talking about today is for the 1st onwards. So if we don't vote anything until the 5th or the 15th, then what state are they? They have an expired license and we haven't renewed the others yet.
They'll be operating illegally, and assuming that around the holidays, that's first is a
So what does
Friday,
the 30 day,
Thursday,
the
Friday,
30,
Saturday, Sunday.
or the original idea was a 30-day reprieve, making it contingent upon everything being in place in 30 days. It has to be contingent upon everything being in place by the end of the year.
So if there's no one living downstairs and they're working through getting a permit to create an apartment down there, we probably won't be, and they got the permit and they're going through the process, we'd probably be not, I don't wanna speak to fire in the building per se, but it would be a much different situation. But the fact that they've put an illegal apartment in preemptively and now they've been difficult to work through to get this resolved, I think the It's mostly about, it's not as much about the permit and getting that through as it is about the person potentially living in the apartment. That's why the affidavit, they sign that before the end of the year, that confirms nobody's living in there. I'd say don't.
Didn't we make them sign something like that last January?
No, this is last year. Unfortunately, people sometimes don't follow the rules. And we don't always have the ability to find everyone who's not following the rules.
Mm-hmm.
And so when somebody is operating in this type of capacity where it becomes more of a public life safety issue with having something illegally, I walk in or you walk in or someone from home walks into Osteria to purchase a pizza and something down below catches on fire, that's problematic for that poor person who walked in with their family to have dinner. If that person's not living there, the risk of that happening is far less great. We can work with them to get their permitting, but that shouldn't necessarily affect their operations above. But there can't be somebody living downstairs and they continue to operate. And our leverage is the common vic. And we believe somebody's living there, and that's why on its surface, the board is in their right to deny the renewal. They have come back to the table. And if we give some grace through the holidays, that allows them to get all their material in, hopefully, allows for a building inspection to take place, allows for us to get something for them to sign saying no one's living in it. If they'll sign it, they might say, no, I'm not signing. And then the contingency on this continuance for 30 days goes out. They don't have a permit anymore after the 31st. But it allows us the ability to make sure that there's hopefully no one living in there. Because if they do continue to have somebody living in there, after they sign something legally saying there isn't, we can go after them for that. Something we can hold up in front of a judge.
We're actually in a risk position now. Yeah, because if the place caught on fire, the apartment caught on fire and it created a grease fire in the kitchen next Tuesday and there was 2 families there, we're exposed. We have a liability on our hand.
Alright, so just informal poll, where do you think we should go? I know it's a hard one. I'm amenable to a 30 days and then that's it, you're done. If we can work that logistically, I'm still not.
I don't know why we're even talking about 30 days. We meet on the 5th. And then,
Or the 5th,
so
sure.
I just don't
if
think
anything,
that,
it would be extended to the 5th.
I don't think they're gonna be able to get all the paperwork in because they haven't been the easiest applicant to work with, clearly. I don't know if we're gonna have everything in, an inspection and a certificate of occupancy over between now and New Year, just after New Year's. There's holidays, people on my team will probably be taking some time. They might not be around as often. It just makes contractors are harder to find in the holidays.
Can I ask the chief a question? If they, Asterio, got their equipment installed and showed up with a proper application, say no later than Friday, which I don't know if you're taking quads off or not, but no later than Friday, would you have time to inspect it before the 31st expired?
I just don't know if they're
So
gonna do Friday.
I'm not in favor, so informal poll, I'm not in favor of denying, I'm not in favor of approving tonight. I'm in favor of postponing until such time as they have their stuff together. And if we need an emergency meeting, I'll take part.
Well, we have
Worst
to do
case-
something or it expires on the 31st.
Right. I understand that.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I'm saying. If they get their act together, which presumably if the place has been constructed by a professional contractor, if they had a professional contractor in there, it's probably what they need to do is install a few things, hopefully.
The person who pulled the permit has never worked in the building.
The contractor's not been working there, they've been doing it themselves. That's what she already said.
Okay,
So
so
that's, we just
I'm
don't
not in
know.
favor of denying, I'm not in favor, but I am in favor of postponing until they get the equipment in and the application.
So is it,
But it,
And if we need to meet on
A Zoom on the
the
29th.
30th of next week, I'll be happy to meet on the 30th of next week.
I'm not available. But you can still have a quorum. And I mean,
We could
again,
Zoom-
we're
Can we Zoom you in?
bending over backwards here. which I love to do the first time, not the fourth time.
We've been bending over backwards for this guy for a number of years. He is late on his application process every year. He's late on paying his taxes every year. The guy is a total scofflaw, and he's gonna continue to push the envelope as long as we let him do that.
So, can we vote on it contingent upon getting all the permits and everything? Your idea is by the end of the year. And then we don't have to vote necessarily before the end of the
We're
year.
Can I
just
ask a
saying
question?
2 more weeks beyond that, to make it so that falls within a meeting that we have.
But that's slightly different. That's giving them a 15-day permit.
That is, you're right.
That's
But then
a
after
whole
that,
new
it's
permit.
Well, I'll tell you where I stand. I'd like the guy out of town. Period. I'd like to make it so strict that he can't possibly get done what we want him to get done, and close the door, lock it up, and tell the police and the fire department to keep it locked up.
Okay, well, I don't think we're going to do that.
Well, I don't think,
He's got an
I'm sure
opinion,
that
he's entitled to
I'm
it.
sure that I'm a single vote, but that's,
Right.
I've been there before.
I think,
Michelle, go ahead.
There's just one question on Mr. Metz's proposal. So basically, the proposal is we do nothing with it until they meet a threshold to come back and then vote. Would that threshold be something confirming no one's living in the apartment? Or is it that plus,
they get the permit necessary through the chief.
but are they, I don't know if they're technically out of zoning if with the illegal apartment in the event that it's vacated, cause they're going through the process of getting the permitting for a vacant apartment, that shouldn't necessarily affect the upstairs. Correct, chief? Yeah, so I would say that if someone's living there, they need to get the permit by a certain amount of time, but either way, they gotta get the dad out of
So
there.
you're saying if they sign an affidavit saying nobody's living there,
That should be enough.
then you would suggest we create a 2026 set of permits with an expiration of January 5th or,
December
12th.
31st, 2026. They'd be issued the permit.
oh, no, I'm not gonna do that.
How do we prove that anybody's
But I
living?
think legally speaking, we can't not provide them the permit if it's vacated.
If we know it's vacated, that's the other part is, when they get an affidavit, it's only worth the paper that it's written on, right? So we'd have to have some sort of unannounced inspections to confirm
So
this.
once they pull the actual permit and it's issued, the building inspector can go over unannounced at any time and do an inspection of the site and of the apartment that they're working on. That's our sort of spot check.
Unannounced?
I'm just gonna note one thing on the, excuse me. On the draft motion, it does say with an expiration date of January 2026. So it wouldn't be through December 2026.
No, we're trying to give it a little more time so they can get through the holidays, get everything ordered.
Just out of curiosity, who wrote the draft motion?
So you're the only one that has this.
Right. It's worked
It
on
was under
inception.
duress.
But
Duress, I tell you.
the part of them receiving.
Not by choice.
Is your arm gonna be in a sling as well?
Is
I
my
just wanna really emphasize, legally speaking, and we talked to KP last year about this. If somebody's illegally living in an apartment that's an illegal apartment inside the property, that's a threshold not to renew the common victual license. However, if that is vacated and they're going through the process when it's vacated to get the proper permitting, that should not hold up the common vic. So even that motion we put in there, Mercy Link, you could stop after that they do an affidavit saying no one's living in the apartment. But
Well, I guess what I'm saying
In
is
theory.
it says expires January 12th of 2026. So it needs to go to December 31st.
so we get past, so you're,
December 31st of
this
26.
is only a 2-week or 12-day extension.
Yes.
It's not an extension, that's a new permit as written.
Extension of the existing one for 12 days or a new permit for 12 days, however you wanna look at it, but
Only
it
goes for
gives them
12
12 days
Right.
beyond what the expiration right now would be, which is the 31st of this month, to get everything in order. That was, again, the idea there was just give a little bit of
Yeah.
time. I will emphasize though that the legal threshold we have to deny is that we know somebody's not living in there, and fire and the building inspector have very good reason to believe that's the case. And under that, and not having proper permitting or a certificate of occupancy, that's why they were denied by the 2 of the 3 entities. But Chief did confirm a second ago, if it is vacated and they're going through the permitting to get that permitted correctly, that's a separate, once it becomes vacant, they're no longer out of zoning compliance. They just have to get the space permitted correctly before someone lives in it.
Well, I get the impression that if, and I can understand this, if that apartment wasn't there, we may not have the grounds to deny his common victular license.
That's right.
Yeah,
They
'cause
were
his-
denied based on
his
zoning.
permitting his preparation for permitting is complete, right, for the Vic and the.
Is
The alcohol?
everything else up to, okay.
Yeah, so what would end up happening is we'd come back on January 12th, if he buttons everything up and we're good, we would then revote and extend this to December 31st, 2026.
And he would physically have to be in the building, as far as I'm concerned, to advocate for why they want an extension, why they weren't able to complete all the elements that we asked them to complete.
So all we would,
Actually, the time for him to do that would have been tonight.
all we would be doing is essentially giving him a 12-day license for 2026. Giving him enough time to fill out the affidavit and
Install whatever he needs to
install what he needs to do.
Yeah.
And then at January 12th, it shuts down again unless we vote it back in.
That's what Kevin's proposing.
That seems, I was gonna say palatable to me, but it isn't. We should do something like that. I think that's appropriate. Give him another step and see if if he's gonna do it, or if he doesn't do it. And at that point in time, we pull the plug.
So why don't, you're okay, I'll read the motion and we'll see if people like it. Vote to approve the 2026 common victual license renewal for Osteria Pepino Pizzeria in the town of Topsfield with an expiration date of January 12th, 2026, contingent upon receipt of an affidavit confirming no occupancy of the newly built unpermitted apartment by December 22nd, 2025.
I'll second it. Other question, we get an affidavit that says it is unoccupied, it also needs to say it will remain unoccupied until properly done, because the legal loophole is it's unoccupied when I sign this affidavit and then they move back in the next day.
So when they pull the permit and it gets issued, we can then inspect the space unannounced. That's how that's why we added that extra grace period, so we can check on it while they're
No,
getting.
but what I'm saying is they get an affidavit that says that they can keep operating the restaurant. There's nothing that says that they ever actually have to come back for anything.
Well, no, if you grant the permit that expires on the 12th, then the select board has the option to extend it or not extend it.
No, what I'm
Okay.
saying is I don't want them
If the
to,
apartment is still not straightened out, we can consider that a clear and present danger to the people above it, and not extend it.
I don't want them to sign something on the 22nd that says there's nobody living in here on the 22nd and then have somebody move in on the 23rd or 24th.
Oh, I agree with your language, that there's nobody living there now and there will not be until we get our.
Until it's
permits.
properly permitted.
That's a no-brainer.
I'm not really sure what legal teeth an affidavit has, but okay.
Well, it is somewhat of a liability protection, which is,
So it's
an
a
issue.
CYA, yeah,
but not the whole issue, of course.
okay. Alright, any other discussion on the contingent motion? Nope, alright, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Boyd, what did you vote? What did you vote?
Any abstentions?
I wanna hear what Boyd is voting.
I'll vote for the.
Alright, I only heard 2 votes here.
I'm
You
okay.
gotta-
Aye.
Okay.
I'll vote for the affidavit conditioned extension to the 12th.
I will, I vote aye as well.
So that's a 4-0-0. Thank you.
But I can tell you,
This is it.
I'm not voting aye anymore for this dude.
Norma.
Get that in the minutes.
He's gone in
The
my
word
opinion.
Every time
Will
it's
be in
just
the
one more
minutes.
time,
He's
right?
gone in my
Every
opinion.
time it's
I
one
don't
more.
typically quote, but dude is going in.
Alright, so
So
now,
you
the
did
thing
play
that
the
is, alright, I'd like to do
Arms
liquor
broken.
licenses the same way. There are some that are not sticky and some that are. So let's take the least sticky ones first.
Good idea.
sticky. Something about talking about sticky with the body.
Just remember, liquor license doesn't work without your common vic.
Yes.
That's right.
Alright, so
oh, I
jump
lost
over. You're gonna jump-
my-
you're gonna jump down to the number.
what year are we? I was looking for victualler's license and past
We only got
minutes.
5 licenses here.
Which, by the way, is fairly easy to do on our website. I was able to find the minutes from last year when we had this. That's how I know we extended it twice. So liquor license renewals, let's go back to Mr. Hartunian.
So every year we have our annual liquor license come for renewals. Leave in front of you all the establishments, the ones that have been around since last year's time, but also the ones that have been more recently provided to businesses in town. And so we'll be doing a new renewal on the licenses for next year. I guess maybe the sticky one is the only change or consideration that or recommendation I should say that we're making, and this is a conversation that our public safety team and Chief Hubby and I have had for over a year now, is the considerations around the greater than 99 or 100 or more condition that was applied to some of our event spaces that have liquor licenses. And the reason for that is because we've looked at many, many years, decades of data of how many times we've had incidences at events that have required police presence.
Really? Decades?
The Commons have been around for 27 years, 30 years.
So, thank you very much.
It would sound like it might be a stretch, no, but it's real. And we looked at that, and we've also looked at what some of our, we want to make sure we're supporting our businesses, and we want to make sure we give every one of our businesses a competitive advantage. And if there's things within their licenses or things that the town issues that could create a hindrance to them being competitively advantaged or a level playing field, if anything, we want to tilt it to our businesses, our people who made their investments in our community to their favor. We want to look at it. And so one of the items is that 100 or more people and the police detail associated with it. We've been told it was put on not by anyone in this administration many, many years ago, and it's been continued on all the licenses in that way of being consistent. The difference is that we also have event space in town that do not have liquor licenses, but they have events with alcohol. And the way that works is that they have caterers who are licensed with the state. Those caterers, based on ABCC rules and regulations, do not need to have a police detail for any size event. They just need to notify the police department and or the town sometimes the town administrator's office, but always the police department.
So, I'm sorry, go ahead. Keep going.
Thanks. I'll stop in a second. So in this instance, looking at decades worth of data, how many instances we have with events with police and without police, looking at the competitive advantage, because there is a financial impact on having a requirement for our people in town versus the caterers who come in who are not local and leave. Chief and I spent some real time, the police captain, Captain Bell, myself, and we've kicked around the idea of what should we look at? How do we want to look at it? Because we always want to make sure we're evolving if necessary. And so Chief and I had a conversation with the captain. Sam joined us for part of it as well. We just said, all right, if we're going to level the playing field, what does that look like? And that looks like a requirement that if an event, getting rid of the 99 or the 100, and saying that if there's ever an event, just like the state caterers, if there's an event at a facility, letting us know that they're having it. Notification's key. That way it's on our radar, we're aware of it, we can do during our patrols, make trips by the area just to check in on it if necessary, if time allows. But it wouldn't be mandated that they have any additional police presence, and it's very uncommon. All of us discussed when was the last time you were at a wedding with a police detail present. I can't remember, I've been to quite a few. The other captain shared that thought, that sentiment, I think Sam, you as well. So looking at other communities and how they handle it. I know Danvers they do not provide police details for certain types of events in Danvers, from a liability standpoint. And so we said, well, let's start there. If we leave that as sort of the baseline for the permit purposes, how do we engage with our community? How do we engage with the business community and find a way that makes sure it's safe as possible? Because I don't know if just having an arbitrary number, which is not based on any science or data, that hasn't proven to be necessary over the years, makes sense to continue as it's been presented. And so then what we did talk about, similar to the used car licenses or the common vic inspections, requiring that there be an annual inspection or conversation with the business owners that have the licenses. Get to know them outside of just those one nights when we have a detail. Make sure that there's an opportunity to discuss, let them know if you have a bigger event, you can call us. You can still call us for a detail if you need it. And engage in best practices and make sure they have everything appropriately where they need to, just like, again, the common vic or the used car licenses. The other piece of it too is we talked about, we don't have it right now, but a more defined protocol for when there is potential violation or actual violation at any of these facilities that do have a local license. Meaning if there's a report from a third party or the police themselves are called and observe an issue that's taking place in real time, based on the severity of that, the police would have a protocol to investigate and make recommendations to myself and for me to the board on any types of suspensions or revocation of the liquor license. So that if we see bad behavior taking place, we can address it accordingly. And that's very common when you look at how other licensing boards deal with their alcohol for these types of activities in these venues. And so the recommendation that I'm making, and that's after consulting our police leadership, is just that: remove the arbitrariness of the number of people at an event for a police detail. Put in our rules and regulations, make sure it's explicit that you can still call a police detail, and it's recommended for certain types of events even to do so, but not necessarily required based on the license. Ensure that we have an annual conversation with the owner through an inspection process and a robust reporting protocol so that we can make sure that we have our thumbs on issues as they start to arise, so that we can make sure we have the safest possible events.
What is a robust reporting protocol?
Well, we're working on that,
To be determined.
but I can let the chief speak to it a little bit because we did have some conversation, and I don't want to overstep on sort of what the police department would do. But I'd say it starts with collaboration and understanding that, if, for instance, somebody were to pull somebody over in Topsfield, and they clearly maybe they're driving under the influence, and they ask them where they're coming from, and it's from one of our events, and it looked like they might have been overserved. That gives us an opportunity to then subsequently investigate that. Go back, ask the right questions of the right people who were there, find out what they may or may not have done, and then based on that investigation, like they would with a police investigation, provide, a summary of what took place and any recommendations that they think are appropriate for the facility. I don't know, Chief, if you want to add to that or clarify or correct me if I.
No, it was well spoken, word in this. When we look at this, we really wanna get to know these venue ownerships better than we have. We have no relationship with them whatsoever. Best relationship I have is with Mr. Gallant from the Evermore facility. He reached out to us, we went on a tour of there, and we have a really very comfortable relationship. So the idea is that we know they're not always gonna self-report. We're gonna get it from a third party that there's an incident taking place. We're gonna get there. We don't have a process in place right now. We don't go meet the owners on a yearly basis. We don't ask them about their shut-off logs. We don't ask them about the incidents. We don't ask them about their tip certification. So we really looked at this as the dynamics of alcohol licenses are really changing. We're bringing in restaurants, we're bringing in Alfalfa Farm with 3 different venues. So we really want to level the playing field. We also have state issued licenses through the caterers, and we're trying to work with every single owner of these venues to build up a better rapport, a better relationship with them. We feel like, and Captain Bell can contest the fact, is the relationship he has with the used car dealers They have everything prepared, wonderful relationships, they look forward to him coming in every single year in end of November, December. But we don't have that with our more serious alcohol licenses. So we really feel like we can develop a really robust plan going forward, a inspectional process going forward, and look at all these events. The challenging part is going to be if there's an incident that takes place and the reporting comes to the police department, goes to the town administrator. We have to have a mechanism in place where it ends up with the select board, bring in the owner, make them responsible, make them have more ownership of their license, and be able to say what happened. And having the ability to possibly suspend them for 1 day, 3 days, 7 days, or whatever, like similar communities do. And I think that holds more weight right now. Yeah, they put a detail officer. We have no data that supports having a police officer with 99 people or no police officer with Connemara Farm with 250 people. We have never had an incident at Pierce Farm. We've never had an incident at Connemara Farm. So it's not proven out that having a detail officer there is beneficial or not. I'm not looking to take money away from the police officers at all. Willowdale, their DCR property, they don't even call us. We use the license, but they use environmental police. The only ones that we have the benefit is the commons. They're the only ones that call us for details at a portion of their event. So it's not really, we think we need a better process. And when we're lacking that, and I think that will have more weight and be better serve the safety of the community.
Do I get the impression that you would like, that you've already started the process of talking to all these people and finding out what they think they need and what they'd like to have? You've already started that process and you're willing to carry on with, there's only 5 or 6 of them on here that you really need to worry about, I think. But you're willing to take on that and go talk to those folks and find out what they want to do?
Captain Bell and I have had numerous conversations regarding this. We think it's the best process to go through. He's willing to do it just like the used car dealerships. But I get calls from venues that says, hey, we're having a celebration of life. You know, we don't know how many people are gonna be showing up. But if they anticipate they're gonna have greater than 100, they're petrified of losing their license or being in violation of somebody walking in and say, there's 150 people here, where's the police officer? Now, I don't think, you know, we can all have their different opinions of how much people consume alcohol at a celebration of life, but the bottom line is, that's not what we're looking for. We're not looking to put a detail officer at a restaurant or Alfalfa Farm with 3 different venues going on. What is the magic number? And we don't have the data that supports a number. This was a recommendation from a prior administration, and it was only a recommendation. And then it got attached to people's licenses as this is the law.
Should instead, it sounds like it would be more beneficial that we attach something to the license that says more like there's an annual meeting with the police or fire departments to discuss ongoing operations or.
I think we mirror it like the used car licenses, whatever the stipulations are within there. It calls for an annual inspection. They have to have this paperwork. They have to show proof of tip certified service. They have to, you know, show a shut off log. We look at incidents. We have a reporting mechanism back to the town administrator, therefore to the select board. I think that tightening the processes will better our community relations with these businesses that we don't have today.
Do the ABCC caterers, do they have to do that?
Annual.
Annual meetings with the police?
No, but they do need to communicate with us when the events take place. That's the
This whole sent me down a rabbit hole. And I'm wondering if they do these things. There are requirements, not only that they notify you, so that's one question I had is, do you get the 48 hours notice every time a caterer comes in town?
Yes.
But they're also supposed to be notifying us.
They notify Board of Health.
Yeah, they do.
Aren't we the local licensing authority?
Yeah.
Yeah. So technically, they're supposed to be letting us know 48 hours in advance. 'Cause what I was trying to do is say, okay, does the state have some requirements that are more strict than the town does? Cause the town, I agree with you with the 99 is being more strict than the state. They're also only allowed to serve for 5 hours at a time. So we have no control over that, that's fine, I'm just saying there are some things that the state requires that our local don't necessarily have to go by.
The state also, after the Station nightclub made rules for crowd managers, so some venues may they may be required to have crowd managers associated. And some of our staff are certified as crowd managers, they have to have logs. I think we're in a little bit of a different situation because we expect all of these buildings at least once a year, if not twice a year, so I think it's great to kind of make it uniform instead of different for different people.
So similar to what we did December 1st, where Captain Bell came in, reviewed the Excel spreadsheet, talked about how we visited all the dealerships. It'd be something similar here, we'd have the list of the 5, results of the visits.
Whereas in past years, it's been basically saying annual renewal time without much
Right.
robust vetting of what happens
No.
over the past.
Even
So
if
we
there's
have
a-
these-
Even if there's an incident, there's no process in place.
So we have these licenses as drafted, ready to sign tonight. If they're not signed tonight, right, they won't be signed in time, because we don't have another meeting until next year.
No, I mean,
So-
the options are to consider, I mean, we can modify the license and then have you come in and sign
I
it,
think they're
or
modified under admin.
they're,
There's only 3 that need to be modified, I'm so sorry, there's only 3 that need to be modified for the event spaces, because 2 are off-site consumption, they don't require anything. Osteria is a 40-person restaurant, so nothing is in their liquor license that states anything about that. It's only in the
Events.
Willowdale, Commons, and Evermore. And I did make those modifications of a proposed draft. It's in the admin. I just kind of put it in there about an hour ago, so you probably didn't see it.
Would Essex Agricultural be in there too?
It is.
Yeah, okay.
So that'd be 4.
Willowdale, oh, no, Evermore is not on
Not
there
ready
yet.
yet.
Oh, they
Evermore is
haven't
not ready
reached-
yet.
sorry.
ABCC is still a
They're
few
still
weeks out
working
from
on it.
assigning that
So
license.
you put in a sentence or 2 about annual meetings with the police.
No, I didn't because you mentioned just drafting everything to look like the used car dealership license, and the used car dealership license doesn't have any mention of an annual.
Used car.
so it would be more of an internal policy that we're gonna maintain, like we do with the used car, where we have the captain or representative for the police department go through his checks and meet with them. It would be very similar in that it's not on the license,
It's not
but
on the
it's an
license.
expected annual part of the
And
procedure, which
there would
we
be a
can create.
letter
So you
sent out.
consider the commons, the way it's written for tonight, to be current.
There's like 3 buckets, right?
Right.
The venues, the stores, and then Osteria.
So
They said the Willowdale wasn't ready yet, but the,
No, they.
Evermore's not ready, Willowdale is.
Well, Willowdale still says 100 or 99.
In admin, you have to go into admin below. So I have all the old ones in there. And then do you wanna pass these around? These are the new ones that are in admin.
So most of
It's just the 3, sorry.
most important thing in my mind as in my role, after talking with the chief and the captain, and seeing what
Oh, that's not.
So I just took it out.
during other inspections and other licenses is gaining
this is the commons.
more robust relationships with the holders. That way, if there is an issue in the future, they're a phone call away, and they know that we're looking, speaking with, and meeting them on an annual basis, and when needed throughout the year.
Yeah, there's a typo here, it says the second line on the 3rd header, to be drunk at a conference and event facilities.
Well, I didn't alter that language, that's been there
It
forever.
can't be a facility, it can't be a plural facilities. But anyway, that's not huge importance, they just stumbled across it.
Well, I think it sounds
know
like
what
this
we
is
got.
coming
I got
from the
2, you got
recommendations of
3.
our public safety officers, so.
ALAC
It has support from ALAC.
ALAC did review this with the chief and did, I believe, put a letter of support into
It's an email of support.
an email you received of support, not on board docs,
It
but
is, I think I put it on
is
board
an
docs like an hour ago.
administrative-
but it's basically my understanding is that it basically reaffirms that they are in support of removing those
Well, if you're gonna read
arbitrary
them, there's two
numbers
more
for police
lists of them.
detail and are comfortable with the plan as presented. And I believe that's as a result of some conversations had with them
Two
and
different ones,
our
three
chief of
different
police. Is that right, chief?
I don't know what we got.
You had a
Stan,
conversation
you?
with Stan?
Oh,
Oh.
wow.
So there's one of the comments doesn't say anything about meetings with the police.
Nope. It's gonna be in a
Is
letter
it
sent
going
out.
to?
It would be associated with with the license, a letter saying that what the changes are and explaining what the processes going forward will look like, including the
So the license is gonna be this plain vanilla, and then there's gonna be a letter saying, oh, by the way, we also want you to have an annual session with.
Yep, that's what we do with the used car dealer's licenses.
believe it's the same, the only difference between these licenses and the updated ones and the old one is just
Yeah,
that
it's the
one
three we're
piece
talking
that
about,
talks
all
about
three
the
event
police
spaces.
detail requirement based on size, everything else is the same. That, the
So
new
we
processes,
deleted the details, everything's the same, okay.
you got it, and then will be articulated in a letter what the expectations going forward will be.
And the
Do we
draft,
mention the letter in the license anywhere?
the draft motion
No.
mentions the annual compliancy check.
So it's kind of a talk softly, carry a big license, which is we give them the letter. The letter is not really enforceable through the license. However, if they don't do it, then their next license is in jeopardy.
Yes.
Cause we might have a recommendation that we weren't able to access it, so we're not sure if they're in compliance. Sort of like if the captain's going to a used car and they don't provide them with the backup, he's probably gonna make a recommendation not to
Yeah,
pass it because we don't know.
I'm gonna
yet.
choose not choose not to have liquor licenses be the same as used car licenses. I just, in my mind, I'm just not gonna.
What difference did, okay, I got you, I got you.
I just don't wanna.
Little difference of what you're talking
A
about.
little bit different.
Do we need to talk about this?
Alright, so I understand.
Included in-
I
I
think
want to
that makes
separate
sense.
that, yeah. It's complicated enough.
So the other, so what do we got? We got,
Do we wanna talk about that?
hold on,
I think,
we got,
again, I'm thinking of it in three different buckets here. I don't know that we need three different motions, but we definitely have to have three different conversations. Two of the licenses this doesn't apply to, Layla's and Gil's. Those are a lot simpler.
but you
Has
know what?
anything changed on either of those two licenses other than the date?
We're still waiting on the state to approve, the governor to sign off on the liquor,
Right.
the
Liquor
liquor
sales.
component of their off-site consumption sales.
Okay, then the second bucket is these three, the event spaces that already have licenses.
So,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, I have them bucketed all together in the same motion, only because I'm not gonna speak on behalf of the select board.
Right,
But wouldn't you want chief to also have an annual meeting with them to ensure liquor compliancy logs, to make sure they're not like overselling to minors? So in my brain, it would still be part of this motion.
I don't know, let's ask them.
but there's different requirements for those
You wanna
two,
have
though,
some
but-
sort of meeting annually with the liquor retailers?
I think building the relationship with all our businesses is very
Yeah.
important to us, and stopping by Gillies and, Layla's or whatever, and to say, hey, how you doing, how's everything going, I think that's a positive thing for us.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between that and having a scheduled meeting to discuss logs, et cetera.
Why not?
What's that?
Why not have a scheduled meeting with them?
That's what I'm saying. Do we wanna do that?
It's a different type of meeting, but it's still a.
You mentioned just sort of a stop in, say hello, make sure there's nobody.
Make sure they have their
There's nobody
ID,
drinking
make sure
behind
they
the
have their ID reader, make sure they're in compliance with that, any other stipulations that are required for their selling of beer and wine.
But they understand the meeting is a sort of a functional police meeting, it's not sort of a drive-by social call.
No, it's a functional police meeting regarding their license on an annual basis and whether they're compliance with a ID reader and their sales.
So we need,
20%
so
of
we
the
need something, we need a similar letter for those two, it sounds like.
So again, I was just thinking, because there are different requirements such as it was in the Excel spreadsheet, right? They don't
They
need
don't need insurance.
liquor liability coverage, right? And then the third one I think is Osteria. So on the first two buckets there, are there more questions? Are people in favor of having this replacing the police detail with an annual discussion?
Right, and with the annual discussion enumerated in an attached letter to the license.
Okay, however, we need to make that happen, but not in the
You wanna do
license.
that anyways, right?
Yeah,
We wanna like sure they know the
Okay.
changes.
and then should we vote on those before we go? Well, no, let's talk about Osteria then. I know we already did talk about it briefly, but without even if you have a pouring license, if you don't have a common vic, the pouring license doesn't matter.
Common Vic's local. The ABCC looks at our liquor licensing. If not, but the liquor license is required with the Common Vic. So if you do not have a Common Vic, so for Osteria's purposes, if their Common Vic, if they're not compliant with our motion we just issued for the temporary license, the 2 weeks, 12 days more into the new year, their liquor license automatically gets revoked.
Why
And
don't-
so my recommendation would be from an administrative, approve them all because the liquor license is associated with the issue we have with them, which is on the Common Vic side.
Why not do the stereo liquor license in parallel to the victular license? Where it's issued conditioned upon receiving the affidavit and it's good through the 12th?
It will be automatically because it's conditioned with
I
the
think
Common
he's
Vic.
saying it's automatic.
It's already conditioned
common vic.
upon having the common vic, and the common vic is conditioned upon having the
You got it.
affidavit.
Yeah, I understand that.
Okay.
But it just seems like another step to create confusion, possibly obfuscation and deliberate ignorance.
The
Okay.
last one's inevitable.
I don't agree, but
Kinda makes it, I feel like it makes it easier because you're approving the liquor license, and once they correct the common vic, then this is
Well
just
said.
ready to go.
They'll continue, we'll just, if they do what they're supposed to, then we won't have to come back and it's associated with those conditions of the Common Vic, so we're covered.
and then if they lose the common vic, they lose this license.
Yes. So I happen to have a motion,
Oh, lucky you.
surprise,
That's what you get for coming in early.
right? Vote to
What's that?
approve. Vote to approve the 2026 alcohol license renewals for the following establishments in the town of Topsfield with an expiration date of December 31st, 2026, with the removal of the 99-person detail requirement and add an annual compliancy check from the Topsfield Police. Gill's Grocery Store, wine and malt beverage retail package store license. Topsfield Commons LLC, all alcohol pouring license. Willowdale Estate, all alcohol pouring license. JCRKAR LLC, DBA, Layla's Variety, wine and malt beverage retail package store license. Osteria Pepino Pizzeria, wine and malt beverages pouring license. Essex Agricultural Society, all alcohol pouring license.
Anybody want a second?
I will second.
Alright. One,
With a condition.
Oh boy.
If Osterio's common victular license doesn't get approved, this thing dies.
It will automatically.
Okay.
yeah.
I don't know, I'm not big on relying on the automatically, to tell you the truth. I just soon do the Osterio license in parallel with the Vic license, their Vic license.
Okay, we gotta vote on this one first though. One question though, at the bottom, it says on premises consumption must provide proof of liquor liability insurance and a copy of the fire safety inspection certificate. Do we have that for Osteria?
We got their liquor liability.
No,
What's
do we have
outstanding is
the
the fire.
fire safety
That's what we're-
inspection certificate?
That's what.
But that's,
Oh,
required for the common vic.
Vic, and they signed off on that.
No, that's required according to the footnote for the alcohol.
Where are you seeing that?
At the
Row
bottom of the
31.
Excel spreadsheet, row 31. They do, am I correct in understanding they do not have a fire safety inspection certificate?
Is that for the second apartment though?
For us to
They haven't, we don't hand out a certificate, but we fill out the spreadsheet, and so they didn't complete it, we didn't
No?
complete it, so.
Okay.
so I don't know if we can give them the liquor license, if that's correct. Is that in our alcohol? We gotta look. Right?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't follow, I was making a note. Let's keep going.
He's checking on some. I look at this list on board docs, I don't see Gilly's name on my board docs, why don't I see it?
No idea.
Gills?
Was it listed on the motion? Gills was, right?
Yeah, I don't see it either, actually.
It's on the
It's,
motion.
it's on there, but not.
Well, I look, and it is on that list, it's on the internal checklist, but it's not listed as a separate license,
Oh, I see.
and Sam, I'm not shooting at you, I'm just, questioning.
Might not have motions again next time.
Mhm.
I was playing
Whoa,
around
wait,
with
whoa,
this.
whoa.
No, seriously, I was playing around with this recently, so I might have
Well,
accidentally
I
just deleted
understand,
it.
and I
Hold on.
understand
I
that
can
you've
add it
got a
real
lot
quick.
going on,
No,
and
no, I can add
it's
it real
difficult
quick.
to.
Has Osteria ever had a fire plan chief? Even before the apartment conversation?
They had detectors and for the restaurant
For the
and-
space on
yeah,
the.
yep.
So the denial on the fire safety plan is solely on the apartment component,
Right, that's why that's kind of the,
associated with the common vic, yeah.
Annual
So they have
memos
a
must be-
fire safety plan for
For
every,
the restaurant.
for the restaurant component of where the liquor's being served, just not on the
That's what I was
the
asking.
attached living
Yes.
unit.
They
So-
have, so they do have
so
it
it's-
for the restaurant.
everything's the
which is
same
what we're talking
historically.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
relative to fire inspection in the past. The only difference is the apartment. So I guess the question is,
Alright, Boyd, Gillies is up. Refresh your screen.
because
Gillies is up, refresh.
the question is, for the liquor license, the liquor license, do you wanna incorporate, or would you deny it because of the illegal apartment on that? Because it is associated with the common vic, and based on our common vic approval, they need to have the apartment vacated, which would then, and get proper permitting by a certain date, or else that license goes away, which would cause the liquor license to go on.
I'm fine with that as long as we're allowed to do that, right? If our bylaws say you cannot do it because you have to have a fire inspection for the whole building or something like that, then we can't. We'd be overstepping our,
Chief, if they vacated that apartment, would you look at you would look at that as being, while they're going through the permitting of the apartment, it would be sufficient?
I'd say that again.
So the only thing holding up is the apartment, so if the apartment's vacated and it should be, and we're gonna get something to that effect, by the 22nd, before the end of the year. I mean, you can condition it, this one the same way, I would just take out the permitting component of it and just say that they'll have a. No, because the fire plan is specific to. No, they need to, based on your last motion for the common vic, they need to prove to us in writing that no one's living in it. If they don't, by the end of this week, or by Monday, week from now, if they don't, the common vic goes away and the liquor license goes away.
So by default, that asterisk at the bottom of the liquor license would apply for 1/1, and they would not have their liquor license either.
Right, so if they can't get us that by default, if they cannot produce the written evidence that no one's living in the
Yes.
illegal apartment, the liquor license goes away. before the end of the year when the license expires anyway. Which is really by Monday next week.
So we are gonna condition the liquor license on the affidavit, is that what you're saying?
You're saying that by default that it's attached to the common vic, it overlays the liquor license as well. So
That's
if we
right.
don't get that affidavit next week, then 12/31 is the last day that the current year license is effective.
For both the common vic and the liquor, so it
And both
basically
licenses
does,
go away at that point.
end result's the same.
Okay.
I have a question.
So-
Makes sense.
But if they do say that there no one else living in there, Chief, you're okay with the fire plan they have?
Mhm.
Okay, so yes, I'm good.
I have a question and she may already know the answer. I'm sure she does. If we say, okay, if the apartment has been vacated and the victular license gets approved, which approves the liquor license, how do we know that, I am of the, this guy's a scofflaw. 3 days later, he's gonna move somebody into that apartment. How do we fix that? Do we know how how often are we gonna do that? How often are we gonna inspect that? And, once a year or twice a year or what? Because this guy
Once
is
a
gonna do everything he can to avoid what we wanna do.
So legal, but we will be present as much as we legally can on private property. As long as they go through their proper processes of submitting for the permit.
Yeah.
We can do random inspections or scheduled inspections of the home, the entire property,
Whenever we want to, maybe.
while the permit's open, until it's closed down and a certificate of occupancy is issued. So
Which is now, right?
they haven't properly submitted, we haven't issued the permit technically yet. So once he issues it, once the fire department gets what they need, which we're working on that as best we can at least, but we can't produce it, they need to. Then that building permit will be issued, and then if that takes place,
When you go issue a building permit is conditional on the fire permit?
yes.
So the building permit comes first, you build including the fire equipment, and then you go for your fire, et cetera, electrical, et cetera permits.
So when the permit comes into the town, any permit, it gets issued out through the building department out to all of the entities that are relevant. Board of Health, Conservation, Fire Department, et cetera, historical. The only department that actually can hold up a permit beyond 30 days, which is statutorily how much time our building inspector has to issue a permit, is our fire and life safety. And that's where if chief does not receive from an applicant, if it's not a complete application with what she needs, her and her team will reach out to the applicant and say, you did not produce us this, we can't sign off until you produce this. And once that is received, sent and signed off on, it gets reported back to building inspector, who can then issue the permit as long as he's satisfied with his part as well. Septic, if it's in jurisdiction, those things happen simultaneously. Historic components all happen simultaneously as well, but just in a little bit different path because by state law, fire has a lot of clout.
So
We've been
he-
working since June 15th for this, so just, there's emails back and forth since June 15th, so
So
we're
he,
trying.
The fire, I wanna emphasize it.
somebody
Fire-
files for a building permit, then we say, okay, show us your plan for fire suppression. The chief looks at the plan for fire suppression, says this is adequate, then you issue a building permit. Then later on, the chief go back and says, did they build the plan?
Fire detection,
Confirm did they build the fire detection plan as
yes.
And
originally?
that's part of the
We do.
final sign off.
We do rough inspections and final inspections, yeah.
So that building permit has everyone's signatures.
And we haven't issued a building permit yet.
Not for lack
For
of
that
effort,
space,
not for lack of effort
and
from
there's
the
been
town of Topsfield.
occupancy.
That's right.
Again, that goes back to our statutory abilities and how do we try to, one way or the other, if you wanna have a business in Topsfield, they've had plenty of time. They will comply or they won't be able to operate in town. That's the bottom line.
Do we know that our drop dead date now is January 12th?
Do we know it?
We extended that time period
They're
till
permanent.
January.
Yes.
So there's the drop dead date is they need to get their affidavit in line, back to us signed, on the penalties of perjury, all the things that come along with that, by the end of, by Monday of next week. That is the drop
Which was
dead.
their license date.
No, the license, if they do meet that requirement, that's the first hurdle.
Yeah.
They get there, good. Now we've issued out to the 12th. That means they're gonna have to come back on the 12th and update the board where they are. Is Pepe still living in the basement? That's the father's name. We're watching. Is the father still living in the basement? No. Affidavit signed, check. Where are you with the permitting process? And in that period, our inspector should be making random inspections once the permit's in to make sure no one's moving back in.
And to be clear, actually, we can appoint anybody we want to make an inspection, including the police chief, including the fire chief, at any time that the building is open, including Kevin, Sam,
I like
anybody.
Bob Metz.
We
I had elect
any
you.
of our duly
No,
authorized
no,
agents.
Of course, you rolled over like.
So look, I just want to emphasize this. Voting, I think we did really well on the common vic, thank you. It gives us the tools, and I think we talked about it, we planned this out, we have a strategy, it's gonna put their feet to the fire. They're either gonna have a business in Topsfield, or they're not gonna comply and they won't. That's it.
Yep.
There's no more games. This, in my recommendation, associating the liquor license and approving liquor license will be taken care of on the back end based on whether or not they comply on the common vic. So it's my recommendation we approve all the licenses as presented and be able to let the team now take the next steps to address it.
As long as we've confirmed they don't have to have, or that they do have the necessary fire permits for the restaurant, which I
They
heard you
do.
say.
They do.
Okay, good.
Okay, so we have a motion and
We have a
seconded.
motion and it was seconded.
Now, if I want to amend it, can I do it now or do I
We'd
have to wait?
vote that one down first.
Okay.
Or wait, no, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
You can propose an amendment and you can then vote you have to second the amendment and vote the amendment in or out and then vote the entirety based on.
So I can recommend an amendment.
Sure.
I make a motion that we amend the voting process to vote Austereo separate from the other licenses before us.
Why would we do that? Since we know it's.
Because I don't wanna vote against everybody, I just wanna vote against Austereo.
Well, I don't have a problem with that either, but I don't,
Well, then you gotta
So are
second
you
it.
seconding me? Is that what I'm
no, I
hearing?
don't know, where do we go? Where do we already,
It's the
we've
amendment.
approved everybody but Austereo already.
On the
did we not?
victular, not on liquor, we haven't approved any liquor yet.
So on the liquor, I've read the motion.
It includes.
Well, then I wanna eliminate,
It's okay.
I vote aye in this amendment.
We need you to
So
second
you
it.
seconded it. Okay, hold on, we're making some minutes, hold on.
I think it's unnecessary, but I'll go along with it because it's.
So the
I think-
amendment is
because it's
technically
automatic.
striking Osteria from that.
Yeah, it's automatic,
From the-
and they've
voting them
said,
separately, yeah.
you don't accept the automatic.
Right.
I gotta read that whole thing again.
Only if you want to.
But you're such a
We have to
good
vote on
reader.
the amendment, right?
Yep,
You vote
we're
on-
waiting whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Member Jackson,
Sorry, no, I
striking for another week.
What's that?
sorry, Michelle.
She's on strike
No,
till
that's fine.
Christmas.
Why are we in trouble? We didn't
Mhm.
cause any issues.
Doesn't matter, recess is being punished, recess is being taken away.
Well, we did it only because he doesn't like the automatic idea about the fact if you don't approve one, then the other one dies automatically. He didn't like that, so
Yeah.
he wanted to separate it.
Okay, we're ready for a vote.
We're gonna do
Alright, so we're
logic.
voting on the amendment to the motion, which strikes Osteria from the original motion. All those in favor? Aye.
Alright,
Any opposed?
Well, I'll say aye.
Thank you.
did my amendment pass?
It did, buddy.
Any
Astounded.
abstentions?
So we're gonna get stuck in the next step. I'm
Okay.
telling
Look
you.
here,
Now.
look here, she's working. Jimmy Guilford shows up on my list of,
Yeah, she did that
It was
minutes
there the
ago.
whole time.
I'm just gonna gaslight Boyd.
I
It was there the
confirmed
entire
that
time, Boyd.
15 minutes ago.
Okay, so now back to this, the amended motion, if you want to read it, it'd be great.
She's such a good reader though, the dulcet
Get
tones
good
of
at
her
this.
voice.
Alright, it's gonna sound remarkably similar to the last one I read.
A little shorter.
Amended motion. Vote to approve the 2026 alcohol license renewals for the following establishments in the town of Topsfield with an expiration date of December 31st, 2026, with the removal of the 99-person detail requirement and add an annual compliancy check from the Topsfield Police. Gill's Grocery Store, wine and malt beverage retail package store license. Topsfield Commons LLC, all alcohol pouring license. Willowdale Estate, all alcohol pouring license. JCRKAR LLC, DBA Layla's Variety, wine and malt beverage retail package store license. Essex Agricultural Society, all alcohol pouring license.
Second.
I was gonna say, do we need a second? We already second, I don't know how this works, this is outside of
That's the
my,
amendment,
We have
yeah.
a new motion, so.
it's not a new motion, it's an amended motion.
So she didn't have to read it, you could have just voted.
I don't know.
Should she read it again and call it amended vote?
You wanna read it again?
Do you want it the third time the charm?
No, she read it, that's fine. You
That's
don't need to
fine.
read
Why don't we
it
just
again.
vote on it? We're
Alright, any
classifying
other
it later.
discussion on the amended motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, now, this is item B.2 or B.B. Which is the same thing just for Osteria. You want me to do this one?
No, I'm
You
gonna
got it?
pause for a second because I believe why they're pulling this out is because there may be one or two people that are gonna vote no.
Yeah,
And there may be one or two people that are gonna vote yes.
yeah.
So we have a tie.
We're gonna have a tie game.
Ooh,
So
that'll
then
be,
it
that'll be
fails.
interesting.
So if you don't have 3 votes tonight, the liquor license fails.
So it's gotta be a majority.
It just needs 3 out of the 5 members to vote in,
I
Marshall.
can't be a tiebreaker.
Does
Where's my
that,
gavel?
You might be
No.
betting,
No one gets a gavel.
is, if it fails tonight, is that in a vote, is that tantamount to a permanent denial?
the only way they would get their license renewed before the end of this year is if we met again to vote the liquor license.
And if they get denied, we'd have to tell the
If we get
ABCC.
one.
If we vote against it tonight, do we have to report to the ABCC?
Looks like yes.
Becomes a bigger deal than allowing it to be wrapped within the common vic.
I mean, the other thing,
Town staff will do whatever the board wishes.
we've beaten them into submission.
Yeah, you
We
really
don't have a
have.
choice.
Ooh, this could be interesting.
Okay,
So-
so you can vote on it how you want, or you could put the same restrictions on it that we put
On the
on
vic?
the VIX.
Yeah,
What's,
we just vote a license that expires on the 12th, absent,
so
and
you
if they
can't,
get all their stuff in a row, all their ducks in a row, then you just
so
give
you
them a new one.
You can't issue a liquor license, that's why we're tying it to the state, to the common vic, because common vic's local, liquor is state, state has certain rules and regs and what you can tie it to, where our common vic has local discretion.
Yeah,
tying it to
including-
anything. I'm just saying
including
the
it has to
date
go
on
through
it
the
is
end
the
of the year,
12th.
I think.
The date on it's the 12th.
No, I don't think we can.
So you're limited, if you wanted to vote, you really can only vote this up or down, you can't condition it.
I think the dates.
I wrote the.
I vaguely remember looking at this last year when we were looking at this liquor license, that the state issues the licenses for the calendar year.
Yes.
And they'd be allowing it because it's automatic if you tie it to the company. Now it's a separate issue.
Oh, spicy. I'm coming in late.
Spicy McHaggis.
I like it. I'm here for it.
You're doing great.
What's
Alright,
Here for it.
what's that?
This.
some fun arguments?
So I just vaguely remember that, and I could be completely wrong, but I do vaguely remember that since there's a portion of the license that's tied to what the state allows, that it's calendar year. I remember having this discussion when we
Let
extended.
me just
theirs.
amend your statement. You may be completely wrong, but I've never observed that actually happening.
You should call my wife. I like that.
But if you pull the common vic, which is a local, that then disqualifies a regular license, even if it's mid-year.
Yeah.
Alright, so is her eminence, the official reader, going to give us?
Now, what are we gonna, you're gonna read something?
So I'm gonna
for it?
end up reading the same motion and just isolate Osteria Pepino.
This is gonna be critical.
It is
Be
critical. Okay. Wow. I'm sick
She's
of hearing
really
myself
critical.
talk. Vote to approve the 2026 alcohol license renewal for the following establishment in the town of Topsfield with an expiration date of December 31st, 2026. With the removal of the 99-person detail requirement and add an annual compliancy check from the Topsfield Police. Osteria Pepino Pizzeria, wine and malt beverages pouring license.
So that's a motion, is
I'll
something.
second. Any other discussions? Discussion? Alright,
No,
Not that we haven't had
we
enough.
made this so confusing.
So if,
I don't know what the hell we're voting on.
I'll summarize. So basically, right now, if you vote yes, you will issue their liquor license, which is associated with the common vic. So the same safeguards that we carved out in the common vic,
Yeah.
the liquor license will follow. So if common vic goes away because they aren't doing what they're told, liquor license goes away. If you vote no, the only way that they're gonna have a liquor license next year, even if they get their stuff in order, is if we have another meeting before the end of this calendar year to issue that license. So we have to make sure everyone's available during the holidays for a quorum to vote this one item. I hope that wasn't too leading.
I just wanna make sure that it ties back to the common victular license and makes it automatic.
Yes, so if you vote yes for this, you have all the safeguards for Osteria that you've put in place with a common vic license. So they'll have to give us the affidavit or the written document by Monday of next week saying that no one's living in there and no one will be living in there until they get an occupancy certificate, and then they have to come back and you have on the 12th the ability to give them a common vic or not. If you deny them, then because of whatever reason, their liquor license goes away too.
So if they
And if
don't.
I vote no tonight, the liquor license is gone.
Starting on the
First
July,
of January.
January 1, they won't have a license, but we don't have a meeting.
Regardless,
We
that's
don't-
it, that's the
And
issue.
if
Even
they
if
don't
they become
file, but
compliant.
if they don't file the affidavit by next Monday,
It's dead.
then they will disappear on the first of January.
Their license their common vic, the common vic will go away on the January 1, and so will their liquor license. So they have, everything you set up in safeguards in the common vic will live for the liquor. Will be
Well,
part of the
let me
liquor
clarify
license.
in relatively simple terms.
Okay.
How do I vote to get rid of them? I want these people out of town, okay? These people are scofflaws, they're bad news in my opinion, I want them out of, how do I get rid of them?
So I'd say to prevent the town from spending legal fees to get them out of town,
Yeah,
vote yes.
vote yes.
Vote yes.
It's all, because if we put well, that's probably not a fair statement.
No, it's not.
I would say that in the event you
You're
deny their
fair,
liquor
I
if you deny their liquor license and they become compliant and there's a lapse, I'm concerned there could be liability to the town.
The chance will be January 12th.
the first chance is December 22nd.
True statement. But if they get their ducks in a row, then we get to January 12th.
The town is better off if I vote yes, I think you said.
It would be my recommendation that you vote yes, but that is your vote, your choice.
I always have a choice, but I look to people brighter than me.
Yeah,
Any
And
other
that's-
discussion?
And that's not hard.
yeah, I'm not gonna comment on that.
Alright, no other discussion then,
Not in a
let's,
public meeting.
Since you-
this is an important vote, all those in favor of the motion on Osteria's liquor license as read, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abs-
I'll oppose.
okay,
Thank you.
any
If
I
that
wanted to
went,
make this worth it,
that went
thank you.
4-0.
I would have flipped the
So
table.
does that mean you're gonna write motions again?
I don't know, we'll talk
You
about
did
it
the right
tomorrow.
motion, we all voted yes, and you voted
I
no.
do appreciate you though for this one.
Yeah. I hope it doesn't backfire, cause this is complicated.
alright, now, on to item C, after an hour and 40 minutes.
I hope this is
There is
easier.
any
Told you it
minutes
wouldn't be
read,
quick.
I'm not reading.
Told you it wouldn't be quick.
I lost my minutes.
Alright,
Yeah, you
item
did.
C, which is Pearl Street and Ruby Circle, which I read multiple times and still have no idea what that is.
Super simple. So the vote right now never used to take place when we accepted roads. Thank you, chief.
Go ahead, chief, was it an entertaining?
Have you, Eddie, go home and have a good time, go home and have a drink.
We've talked about acceptance of roads. We are coming back to you all with some of the roads that have been not accepted, but roads that we've had in town for a while that we know we need to, for chapter 90 purposes, accept
And what's
formally.
the time?
That's coming. It comes back to you first to lay the road out.
Okay.
That's,
We gotta
that's
vote
old
and
stuff,
then it'll go to that.
that's, yeah.
You went to KP Law to find out about Pearl and Ruby, which is the most recent development. It has not been fully sold yet, all the parcels. But with some of the neighbors complaining that it's been many years that they haven't been able to have town services on the road.
Mm,
I
that-
didn't realize they've been dwellings there for that long, residencies.
Three or
that long.
four big houses down
5
there.
or 6 years.
They tore down the big mansion and
Yeah, COVID delayed, I think, according to what I've heard, some of their processes, but bottom line is they had it built until recently, the road to specifications to be accepted. And the other requirements that are required. Gary Wilds, they did make those improvements after some of the people who purchased homes made complaints. To the developer, they made those improvements and Gary Wilds has inspected and said it was built to specifications. The planning board has also agreed to that as well. First step of accepting a road, it's the first time in Topsfield we've done this, and I know for many of you, it is the first time, maybe not for Mr. Jackson who's been here the longest on the board. But the first step is just and vote to consider the layout. Doesn't bind you to anything except allowing this to get sent back to the planning board when the actual as-bills come in to then review it. And when they approve it, kick it back down to us again for the select board at that point to lay the road out formally, and then that will then go to the town meeting, and we're hoping to do that in May.
So basically, we're just approving the planning board's ability to look at the construction plan. And approve it.
You got it, just allowing everyone to consider the roads to be accepted. Hadn't been done in the past according to the chair of the planning board before, but this was recommended by KP.
So shall we have another ghost written motion?
I just wanted to note that I did drive over there today. There was quite a few engineers out doing some more work, so
You can thank actually Lynn for this, she wrote
well,
it.
there's a lot going on there.
Lynn wrote
there's
this
a lot
one.
going on. I saw all the trees were in, the sidewalks are in, so.
That might be actually the engineering firm that's gonna build, draw out the as-bills.
I would imagine so, because there were a lot of them all over. Okay, are you ready? Vote to intend to lay out Pearl Street and Ruby Circle of the Riverwood Estates subdivision at 333 Perkins Row in preparation for road acceptance at the Topsfield 2026 annual town meeting.
Second.
any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Passes, alright. Moving right
I
along.
just, I'd make a comment, for those of you who don't know where this place is, it's a big piece of property right at the point where Perkins Row intersects with Ipswich Road. Beautiful mansion, old estate, and they tore the mansion down and subdivided into what I think might become 4 or 5 or 6 big
Oh, yeah.
houses, okay? I think there are 2 or 3 there now, but there's gonna be probably 4 or 5 later.
So we've talked in the past about sometimes there are occasions where it's difficult to get a developer to finish up the road acceptance process because they've sold all their units and are out. Now, this guy, whoever it is, he still has skin in the game with some of these things not being fully sold, and it's to his advantage to make this thing clean and accepted.
And that's a very important point, because we're at the
Thank you.
point here where we can say, finish it up, get it done, present as-built so we can approve it. We've got many other streets, several other streets in town that the contractors walk away. We don't have as-built, and so we're asking now to try to figure out a way to get those accepted so that we can move on, because it's a huge issue for the town in terms of Chapter 90 money, in terms of what we can claim from the state in terms of trying to take care of them.
Yeah.
So we've had a number of them slip away from us over the past years. We need to fix this one and make sure it doesn't get away from us.
Now, I was looking at Google Maps and earlier today, and there is another road or two over there in that subdivision that's not, it's not these two.
I will say just, the motion was written by the senior administrative assistant to the planning board and was approved by the planning board chair. So if there's need for more roads to be accepted, that'll be done at a future date and purposely done through the planning board.
Well, it looks like Pearl Way might go all the way around. I just say the official is our town maps, not Google Maps, because I see what you're saying.
Perkins.
Well, yeah, Ruby Circle is the main road that comes off of Perkins. When you come into Ruby Circle, you take a right. This is Pearl.
Oh, that's interesting. Completely opposite of what Google says. See, it doesn't have them connecting at all.
There's
It's a
Perkins.
circle.
Oh yeah, that's weird.
See, this is why I think Google is wrong.
Google is wrong.
I think Ruby goes all the way around.
Google is never wrong.
I drove
Google
it today.
Google is
And it
telling
looks like
everybody where to go.
That's how.
What do you mean it's telling me what our
Google-
alcohol licensing
Google
rules are?
can't be wrong.
Anyways,
Google.
next.
Alright, yes, that brings us to municipal ADA improvement grant acceptance. And I'm hoping so what we learned is it's not spam, it's real money.
So I'm gonna just hand this over to Chief in 2 seconds, maybe 3. Thank you, Chief. Another example of the chief, as a member of our public safety team, that does some phenomenal work in sourcing it and identifying opportunities and applying and then winning those opportunities, and many times doing it in partnership with other communities as well, and helping us best position ourselves to find money. Chief, did you wanna elaborate on this particular one, the good work you did?
Yeah, sure. As you know, the ADA coordinators are a required position in the town. There has to be someone designated as that, and so an employee. So I am in my other life, I was an occupational therapist, so it really matches up with what I did for work. Decades and decades and decades ago, Dr. Paul Spears and I went around town. He was a neuropsychologist that lived in town. He used a wheelchair for mobility. And he and I went to some town buildings and tried to access them and kind of start to do a plan, because you're required to have an assessment of the town buildings and a transition plan to make them compliant. Through the years, we've done a couple of more formal studies. This was brought up during the master plan. That was something that needed to be updated. And so we applied for, and we're lucky enough to receive $40,000 grant so that we can hire a consultant that will come in and reevaluate the town properties and update our transition plan. So it's the same grant pool that we got last year for the upgrading of the tot lot at the Proctor School for ADA accessibility, and so I'm very fortunate, and it's always great when subject matter experts can come in and do the work that Dr. Spears and I tried to do, but we really didn't.
So this is for every town building.
Town
Will
building and
have their
and
ADA compliance assessed.
town building, and the way we wrote it was for town buildings, ways, and the website. So the
Town buildings, what? Wait.
like parks, so Pybrook
Oh, okay.
Park, the soccer field on Normandy Row, the
Okay.
playgrounds, the school's playgrounds and things like that, so.
Joe will note the schools have had for a few years in their capital plan, ADA feasibility study at both schools. And so this potentially,
This would
This would cover the schools too.
that was a combined $100,000 of, they were asking free cash, so if this does
So-
cover it, we should.
when I come up with my budget, just remember that.
It's coming. And she's gonna say, remember what I got?
But it's good, it's really exciting, I've enjoyed talking to different vendors, Debbie's been helping me with the request for quotes, and so hopefully we'll get those all in by the next 2 weeks and it's a pretty tight, it's all gonna be done by June 30th, so.
Comment. I can't thank you enough for what you do for the town of Topsfield. But you made a comment a little while ago about the fact that you've been working with that particular individual for decade after decade after decade, and you're not that old, come on.
Right.
Thank you for your
You're
work.
welcome.
Okay, so has anybody seen a motion or coming up with one off the top of their head?
I've seen a motion. All right, vote to accept a grant from the Massachusetts Office on Disability for an ADA self-evaluation and transition plan to address barriers to accessibility in the amount of $40,000 and for the chair to sign.
That's huge.
I'll second that.
That's huge.
Any other discussion?
Great job.
I have a question.
Oh.
Do we keep track of all of the grants that we've applied for and received?
So we have we could run a report, but right now it's held through the procurement office and special project office, which is Deb Morrow.
But is that just the ones that we've won? Or is that all of them?
All the ones we've won or applied for.
Right.
We don't typically see it come up to our office. We hear about them, but we don't necessarily always track them. Depends on the department. I'm sure if I ask Chief right now, I'm sure she can tell you what grants she's applied for and not applied for. Same thing.
Cause she wins them all.
No,
Right,
not
right,
true. This, no, this one, like we kind of got the special sauce, we applied for this one for 3 years in a row to replace the library doors, which makes perfect sense to me, I can't understand why that was never picked up as a project, that seems like to make them open and close and insulated and like, seems like the perfect thing, so many people use the library, but.
So we're grateful for the year mark finally. We that's how we're gonna pay for part of it this year.
But they don't use those front doors, they use that side door.
That's the one
main
being
door,
replaced.
the main entrance.
Yeah.
I asked my question because, and I feel like a broken record because I say this every time, along with thank you for applying and getting the grant, is that this is money that comes into our budget that we may have otherwise not been able to spend because we have such tight budgets.
Without doubt.
And I think it would be important for people to see the hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of grants that we,
Oh, it's been millions the last few years.
and millions, right? So I would love to see something that says, here are all the grants in 2025 that we received.
I would too, and I think that's important because there are people that are diligent about applying for those grants and some people probably never do. But I'd like to see that list about the
Yeah,
grants that are applied for and accept. I don't care about what they're applied for, what's accepted, because I think that's a
Right.
number that people would like to see.
Do you
That's
have
real
any-
money.
How many years back do you wanna look?
Well, I'm just thinking for this last year.
Just the past year.
Yeah, and maybe, I
We'll
don't know if
put
it's
something
something to
together.
consider for town
It's
meeting
For
to
maybe the
say,
last fiscal 25
Yeah. we've done in the
Can I
past.
put that in the letter?
and year to
You
date.
typically do put it in your
I was
letter.
gonna say, I feel,
So we have it?
yeah.
Kevin, make it easy, don't make it a
We'll give you
big
some
deal.
information.
Yeah.
We usually, I wouldn't say it's every year per se, but in the last handful of years, we've received a lot of grants, competitive and entitlement, depending on the source.
Mhm.
And it has been in the millions. So we've had the opportunity at certain points to show sort of what's been offset some of our costs. You can see some of it in our capital plans in the years past, cause where it's allocated in that given year, many times they'll have it under grant versus, or earmark versus under free cash or debt authorization, right? So we can put something together so you have an idea of how we're doing. Much easier just to run the report of what we received versus maybe what we apply for, but we can.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Is that okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Alright, we didn't
So
vote on
don't-
this
I
one
don't
yet,
think-
right?
Can I ask a question of the chief? So, you know, I'm not familiar with how the ADA requirements evolve. You know, whether there's major legislation every several years that change things, or whether there's agencies that are changing the requirements every year as they examine things. And how likely is it that we're gonna have a number of buildings that have to be reconstructed?
We have a number of buildings that we've had since I've been here that aren't accessible necessarily to the public, and we've tried to make reasonable accommodations, like the call box at the police station and things like that, so there's definitely gonna be architectural barriers. We work with the Architectural Access Board. Sometimes people build buildings in town and they are required to have an elevator that fits a stretcher that's laid out. And sometimes they appeal that because it's costly to do that and they don't wanna do that, so we work with the Architectural Access Board, and I think that as building code evolves, you know, there's changes at times, but
So it's quite possible that this could end up with a capital expenditure list.
well, it evaluates everything we've done. There's been, like, we just did that whole playground, that was $170,000, we made that accessible, so that would come off the list. But it will give us, part of the request for quotes was estimates of, it's a punch list. The town has at least 2 other ADA evals that I am aware of, that they need to be updated, so I think that will continue to pick away at the things. It took forever to get a ramp on this building, which they took off the building. So like the town does things like to the best of their abilities with the best of intentions to move forward, and sometimes it's not right and it gets redone. It's a constant evolution.
So grants that we're receiving today, hopefully will spur grants in the future. It could be free cash allocation if it's a priority, it depends, but it could be an earmark, like we talked about the doors a minute ago, but we always look first and foremost for grant opportunities to cover costs.
I do also think that because this was mentioned in our master planning process, like there's a tie-in to, so we knew in the master planning process that we need to update our complete streets plan, we need to update our ADA plan. So by referencing that, it shows the commitment of the town to those bigger projects, so.
So it's like, somebody mentioned Normandy, the field there, and that's basically a short dead end road, and you get out of the car and you walk through the woods and you get to Normandy. And so there may be, get to Normandy Fields unless they've changed it.
It's not a
Since
dead
they
end road,
closed.
it's on Normandy.
It's on Normandy Road.
Well, the field.
Yeah.
The
I
playing
just-
field is
walking
back
path.
in the woods.
It's off of Normandy, back in the woods.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I mean.
I just put all the town-owned fields and athletic places, so.
So, I mean, what are the chances that we'd have to make a capital investment in
Well, you
Normandy to make it?
choose to make the investment, so.
No one's gonna mandate it necessarily, but it helps us plan for the future, prioritize the areas and look at grant funds and others to be able to pay for them, but we're gonna have to wait, this is the first step, so once we pass this in a moment, we'll be able to then go forward with the grant and the contract and Chief leading the charge and helping put together that plan with the consultant. Thank you, Chief.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Don't delete your spam.
Great job.
You're gonna sign that
As you-
tonight?
Delete your spam.
As you.
Oh,
You're gonna sign it electronically, buddy.
I do have to actually do that.
Oh, you have to sign it
You're the man.
Do what?
for the chair to sign.
Click on the spam, the phishing attempt.
So hard to know.
Yeah, well, it came the same day we did get an actual fishing from the town of Wayland or somewhere.
I did not get that.
Really?
Fishing from Wayland?
Yeah.
Why would
Same
another town be
thing.
fishing for stuff?
I think it was a
Somebody
fake
hacked
one.
their
Somebody,
website.
somebody
their
in,
email
yeah, had their
address.
website.
Said click here. I didn't
Good move.
on either one. Alright, I will do that. For my
It is going on.
Okay, we have the annual town meeting warrant and the budget to discuss, we're 2 hours in.
This is gonna be very brief, Mr. Chair.
Okay, I was gonna say we can
Yeah.
take a quick recess.
This will be less than a minute, depending on the questions thereafter.
Okay, good.
My
We
piece
also
will
have-
be 2
Let's go
minutes,
for it.
2 minutes on mine.
So we're automatically putting a limit on him.
It's up to the board.
You said some people, does anybody want a recess?
Come on.
Go ahead.
No,
That's
okay.
My TA updates have at least 45 to an hour left, so.
Okay.
Just kidding.
45 to an
I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
right.
Are you?
Oh, God, updates.
I know what questions I get.
We have a,
Sam is looking
I'll
at
be
saying, Sam is saying, I want out of here.
no, wait, we have a
You wanna take a-
commitment
do
to
you wanna-
1 minute.
Yeah.
Take a vote for a 5-minute
Let's
recess.
do a 5-minute recess.
I don't.
I do.
Okay, so now you're
So,
reducing the probability of Kevin's 1 minute update.
I'm too sore to
This is
speak.
my
Thank
gift. Now
4
I get to
minutes
keep
left.
talking.
I'm done. I'm not getting up. I'm not going
5-minute
anywhere.
recess.
Is this a recess or not?
yes.
We'll reconvene in
One
5.
minute.
Alright, so Kevin said a minute, I'm gonna start my stopwatch.
120
Make
seconds,
sure
I
I
think
don't say
everybody's.
something slanderous.
So the first is that expectation wise, we're gonna be doing a work session on the 5th, right after the new year. At that time, my hope is that I'll have already sent out another version of the warrant with some updates and further language built out. And that at that time, we'll do first round voting of warrant articles. Following that, we will then establish warrant article numbers associated with each article. And therefore, those are the numbers we'll use until something would be withdrawn or something needs to be added in. Okay, 1, 2. And the work session might be in person, preference would be it would be in person, but TBD on that, but that's
Ask came from Greg.
we're gonna be also talking at that work session about the water capital and the budget too.
That's a long one.
That's gonna be a long meeting, but it's an important one. The next item is budgets are due to the accountant and myself tomorrow by end of day. We've already received the number of the budgets, we appreciate the work that the department heads have done. Especially under our financial constraints to try to craft a very appropriate fiscally minded budget. We have had many meetings with our department heads, discussing what the expectations are. And excited to see the good work that they've done so we can aggregate it and then on the 8th of January, provide the select board finance committee with a omnibus version 1 of the operating budget. Any questions so far? Next is gonna be the Essex Tech, just by way of update and heads up. Last week, there was an important vote on Thursday that was scheduled to happen at Essex Tech. It was held up by the 5 largest communities in the Essex Tech program, as there seemed to be an interest in learning more about their future plans for growth of Essex Tech. Their growth impacts our local high schools, and Topsfield was very much involved in the conversation. I'd say on the side, I had a great conversation with the superintendent as well as a number of the member communities that were leading the opposition to the vote. It likely will come up in the future, but the good news is not before there's more conversation, transparency, and discussion around what's the future numbers of Essex Tech and what that looks like.
Cause for Masco, I mean, there's more kids going to Essex Tech, but not in the numbers that would threaten any Masco's operating estimates.
So the numbers have gone up and down to Essex Tech over the last handful of years. What the school also recently, that was the holdup for the vote, and that's the big concern amongst the member communities is what does the future look like? The other piece, which is relevant but not really impactful, is how they're determining enrollment going forward. The state has now dictated that a random lottery versus merit-based applications and interviews are now how they're gonna allocate seats at the vocational schools. And so, and that's state mandated, so we don't have a say in it.
So they're so popular that they're oversubscribed and they gotta
Oh, yeah.
ration admissions?
Mm-hmm.
They have been for a long time.
It's more about how they're doing it now. It's random versus based on merit, I think is the best way to maybe summarize it. That said, they're gonna be using a 3-year minimum enrollment number for freshman classes as the minimum target number for each community. Meaning, if our average the last 3 years is 7 seats, 7 students enroll each year for the freshman class. If we have 6 people apply, all 6 will get in. If we have 8 people apply, 7 will get in, and the 8th person subject to the random additional seats or anyone who gives back seats. It should have a net zero impact in theory. Where the impact is where it could affect us for what our numbers look like. If we have a lot of people enroll and a lot of people in the communities don't enroll, and by the chance to draw our students get picked, we could have more than our target minimum. And also, if the enrollment continues to grow at 25 seats per year or more, that would obviously open up the amount of available seats in Topsfield as well.
So, these are all, they're talking about rationing the freshmen who exceed the prior 3-year average, right? So how do they decide who is the freshman that gets thrown into the lottery as opposed to?
You have to apply, like, you have to put your name in as wanting to go to Essex Tech,
Right,
and then
so,
you get put in the lottery.
yeah, like he said, 8 freshmen, in his hypothetical, 8 freshmen apply, indicate they wanna go.
Try to enroll. We
They
want
try to enroll.
Seven
Our
of them
7-year
win.
average is 7. Yeah, but
One
which
loses.
7 are considered part of the base of
based
which?
on the random picking of the position. So it's
That-
like
that's the
every
lottery.
student will
so
get
that's a
a
lot.
number
The word
associated with
random
their
is
name.
important.
So there's a lottery among our 8, and then
So
the 8
Tops,
gets thrown into the big lottery.
you got it. And there's 15 open seats plus or minus that are open seats. And then if any community doesn't hit their minimum, so a community like Essex has 5 seats, but this past year they only sent 2.
Yeah, we get.
That's 3 seats that get thrown back into the mix.
Yeah.
That means those 3 seats could be Peabody, Beverly, Salem, Topsfield, Hamilton, Wenham. It just matters where they fall in that lottery line. The last thing I'll mention on this agenda item will be the Masco. We did have our
Sorry, just on
Yep.
Essex Tech, I think it is important to note that some of those other towns have brought up the point that Essex Tech's size has continued to grow by hundreds over the last 10 years. When what they've said, what they've pointed out is that broad enrollment across the area. So we've had this discussion amongst Masco, but they're saying broadly, enrollment is going down, but Essex Tech seats are going up. And I wasn't at the meeting, but just some things that were expressed as to why do you keep growing and when enrollment is going down. And also just as a reminder, there's 19 communities or 17, so it does not get the same level of scrutiny from different select boards as the base.
But if their enrollment is growing so much annually, they must have a heck of a building program,
yes.
almost continuous.
So 2
Yes.
years ago, the superintendent came to us, what's her name, Dr. Rizzio?
Riccio.
Riggio came and
Yeah.
effectively was, here's our capital plan, and as a member,
Get ready.
here's your bill. Unless, I think it's something like 11 or 12 member communities vote down.
Usually they'd have to do it at they have to hold then a special meeting to vote it down. There was a timing issue on that one too, on when they notified us to when they were, so it passed, they got the money, they billed. The questions now is, I think people are saying, okay, Beverly's enrollment's going down at the high school. Masco, we've talked about every year, has gone down. What does that do to the local public schools and the eroding the enrichment and the opportunities? Because towns are now having to cut teachers and programs because it doesn't
But
map
for us,
out.
it's not Essex driving that. There's other factors.
But it's not peanuts. For example, our enrollment's gone up by 2. It's not huge, but that's an extra $50,000. That's $50,000 that we have to pay. We still have to pay Masco their same budget. It's not like Masco's goes down.
Well, we don't have to.
Okay.
We choose to.
So
but,
Ms. Metz, that's just
yeah,
the general argument that the
We
communities.
haven't been managing the budget down with the students. I mean, that's pretty well accepted in Masco.
We're-
But,
Yeah.
and I think, I think they're looking at this the wrong way. I mean, it's not like we should blame Essex for we being the broader multi-community, town community,
Not
be
at all.
blaming Essex for their, for draining students away. Essex is providing an education opportunity that people are realizing in many cases is more effective for them,
Bingo.
which is, the technical skill set is more effective for many, many people in the marketplace without $200,000 of college debt than traditional college. So I think they're providing a positive opportunity for the kids that our community should work with, and not look to blame them for something that's going, that may reverberate in our high schools.
I don't know that anybody's using the word blame. It's more of a have a discussion with your member communities. Don't let us know 24 hours before you take a vote like this.
Well, we only found out because
yeah, I
some of the
don't know
member
about
communities got notified by their school committee members, hey, this is happening, by the way, at a late hour. That said,
So,
there's
for
a
the Essex
incredible
District,
amount of people at Essex Tech, increases every year how many kids are going to four-year colleges, which is good, but also
How many-
not necessarily the original intent of these the tech schools, right? There's alternatives to four-year colleges. Doesn't mean you're prohibited from going to a four-year college by any means. Like, that's great. Go to engineering schools, go to whatever it is, landscape design schools, whatever it might be. But there's a ratio that you look at for what the purpose and how many you expect to go to a four-year school after graduating a technical school, and that's what they're looking at. We're at the moment, from our position, we're in the conversations listening. We haven't making any hard decisions or opinions. I've reached out to our school committee member to address it with him and find out from Adam what his thoughts are on it as well. But it's just to be on your radar. So this is not my fault. I took 2 minutes. Ask me a lot of questions, Mr. Matz.
Boy, you were chatting me that I should create a.
No, I'm not an issue. I'm in total agreement with what you're saying here. I think that our educational system is showing that a lot of people need to go to tech schools to learn how to make a living. And I think we're putting out a lot of, my personal opinion, we're putting out a lot of college graduate students that can't make a living. They're coming out with fancy degrees and they wind up with coming out of school and all of a sudden they can't get a job to make a living. Technical schools create situations where people who don't want to go into the finer fringes of education can learn how to make a living and provide for themselves. I'm totally in favor of what tech schools are trying to do, and I will support them in any way that I can.
So Mass Economic had a budget open house last week, and it was attended by their school committee, our finance committee, Boxford and Middleton's their FinComs, and I think some rep from two of the three members of the three Tri-Town select boards. I represented us for part of the meeting. I was the only town administrator or school administrator there for the meeting. It was good to hear the conversation and the perspective the school committee's taking. It's also really great to see them inviting participation early on in their deliberation and conversations. So just wanted to bring everyone up to speed with those efforts last week. We still don't have a budget from them. We won't see it for a little while, but there seems to be a realization and at least at this point, discussion around possibly maybe wrong choice of words, but maybe looking at right sizing some more of how the organization there is relative to the student count. So we'll see where it goes. That's my updates for item 5 on the agenda, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Remarkably penetrating and informative and short.
Why don't you just keep going and we'll do town administrator's report and then come back to select board
I
updates.
thought that was
Ooh.
the town administrator's report. Oh, that was
You're on a
number-
roll.
That was letter E, okay.
I asked Chief Collins Brown to stay because I want to acknowledge that Tonight,
She would rather be here than anywhere else.
I'm certain of that. The Ipswich Select Board recognized Chief Collins Brown for her efforts. Kind of tricked her into telling us that she was being recognized tonight at our department head meeting this morning. As humble as she is, didn't make mention of it, but it was always really nice when people are recognized. It's even, I think, more meaningful when other communities recognize someone going out of their way to support them in their times of need. And so this is one example of many, many, many examples that I've witnessed in the last 6 years where our public safety team and our leaders within our public safety team, and when Chief Collins Brown in particular, puts everything else aside to be present in meetings, but also present in times of need of people in our community and beyond. And there's nothing more important than we do than keep our community safe. Hard stop. And it's because of leadership like Chief Collins Brown's
Taking care of.
and our team that she represents in our public safety and our broader team of public safety that we have some of the best public safety officials in the Commonwealth. And I sleep very well at night knowing we have incredible leadership, incredible team behind them taking care of our town every single day and night. So thank you, Chief.
So could we hear, maybe I missed it, but could I hear more precisely what the honor was that was received from
They were
Ipswich?
just, there was a fire in August on Linebrook Road in Ipswich, which is we're much closer to that location than Ipswich Fire Department is, and so
Interesting, okay.
they called, it was a report of a building fire with people trapped. There were 2 people trapped. Firefighters from Rowley got there first, and then Ipswich right after, and they went into the second floor and were able to get the father and son to the window. I was able to help that, and then our ladder came with a water supply and things like that. So people really put their lives at risk. I didn't put I could have, I guess, but I wasn't at risk. But there were people that were at risk themselves to save that man and his son, and
So there's 3 towns responded.
no, there was way more than that. But we were the first ones there.
3
So.
towns are the
And there was
first responders.
a police officer who, an Ipswich police officer who went in first to try to get the people out. So just trying to highlight everybody working together, and all of us have relatively small departments, so nothing that we do can we do without each other. And just nice to know that no matter what, Ipswich, Raleigh, Danvers, Boxford, Middleton, Hamilton, Wenham, they're right behind us. They're coming right behind us to help us, so.
Okay,
It's wonderful.
good.
Great story.
And can I
Thank you,
ask,
Chief. And Chief did come straight from Ipswich to be here for tonight's meeting to help us with the grant as well. So everything from saving lives to helping us get the funding needed to support those in our community that have needs.
So
so Chief,
congratulations on a well-deserved
Yeah,
mention.
thank you, it was very nice. Yeah.
Chief is very, very good at a lot of things, including it giving out recognition. Our correspondence is full of recognition for the department and recognition that she's given. So next time, so thank you, Kevin, for bringing it to our attention, and let's make that official and get that up on correspondence at some point.
You got it. Sticking with public safety, we had a very nice event. We've done it for a number of years now over at the fairgrounds, where the police department has an awards and luncheon around the holidays. Great job by the chief for organizing it. We had representation from all the other departments that are here on Fridays, and this one felt a little special to me. I think there was a pretty significant event that happened at the fair this year where everybody who was present that day was recognized by Chief. And it kind of dawned on me the same way Chief, with her leadership within her department, Chief Hubby's done a really great job of, we talked about when I hired him 5.5 years ago about team and culture, and what he's done, just like we see in the fire department, has been special. And the team we had, and I remember I had a chance to speak at the end, and I looked at the team and I just, it was very easy to come up with words
right from the heart about how special what we have here is and the work that they do. And as ambassadors of what we're trying to accomplish in our community, the work they do every single year, month, week, and day, and hour. We have some of the best really representing us well. So again, thank you to the fire department and the leadership from chief, but also thank you to the police department and their leadership. We've got a really great team. I could probably leave it at that, but I have a few more quick updates.
He
You
can't,
teased
he can't
us with a,
he
leave
can't.
it at that, but.
Water tank and water got filled last
Is it
week.
full?
So we're filled that up. We got the water main work completed as well a week and a half ago.
Does that tank have a heating coil in it?
It's frozen now.
It also,
No, seriously.
It's not gonna freeze solid. 6 million gallons, it's not gonna freeze solid, come on.
thank you to Gary Wilds and his team, the public safety team, for their plowing on Sunday. It was our first storm. We had to get a couple calls out to the team to come out and do it. I came in on Sunday in the afternoon for a couple things, and again, always impressed with the work they do and how black the asphalt is when we were in Topsfield. Kept it safe and much appreciated the work of the crew. Ice rink has been set up, no water in it yet. We're looking to do that in January, but it's coming back after a year hiatus. And the fire department, like usual, will hopefully
Yeah,
help us out.
And it's gonna be 50 degrees.
By the time, it's been cold so far.
Yes.
It's been cold. Manure lighting.
We've tried for a couple of years.
I know, it's been hit or miss. We have a menorah lighting Wednesday at 5:30 down at the Pocket Park. Looking forward to that. If you have to come to town hall over the next week and a half, please come check out our doors. There's a door decorating contest second annual door decorating contest.
Yeah.
There's some sort of breakfast thing, right?
And then we also have a breakfast on Monday of next week, a week from today, where we'll not only take a moment to reflect on all the great work that the team's been doing a year ahead, but also to award probably a small gift certificate to the winners of the door decorating
And we
contest.
know that Raphael is bringing some bacon.
Yes.
I almost cooked it for yesterday.
We'd be eating it right now.
Yeah, for today. Yeah, today's Monday.
Last thank you goes out to Teal and Brooke and everyone behind the Holiday in the Green event that we had on Saturday, first Saturday of December.
Awesome.
It's a great event as always, a little colder, but on the colder side. But great turnout, a lot of really happy people. I know this library said in their space alone, they had over 1,000 people come through. Yeah.
1,000 people.
We had hay rides.
And they didn't do the Mass Required did not sing inside, right? They sang outside.
Outside.
Yeah.
So hay rides, choir. Dick Cullinan received the annual Citizen Award that we give out, the McGee Award. And her daughter, McGee's daughter, was actually here, which was really nice, and helped deliver that to Dick Cullinan. So great event as always. I can see if you look out the windows, the lights are out in the common. One of the best light displays for your downtown, I think, around. So great work by all. And I will conclude by wishing everybody on the select board, everyone at home, the team and staff here at Topsfield Town Hall, and beyond, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. Wish everyone a great New Year. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, sir.
Alright, normally we'd be done, but we went out of order, so we're gonna go back to select board updates and start with Mr. Metz.
So we had a fairly lively listening session Saturday, which was completely unexpected, at least on my part. So we had 2 FinCom people show up and no school people, but we had 3 citizens. And one husband-wife team, their issue was something we emailed about, which was repainting the crosswalks, the various crosswalks. And a little more subtle was some crosswalks seem to be more equal than others. They get more diagonal painting.
More attention, more.
Yeah, they get more yellow paint and diagonals in between the stripes, just the stripes. And if you look for their example, their example was Coleraine Road, just 2 right stripes, but yet the crosswalk to Parsonage, which may have more kids on it, but you know, there's still a substantial number of kids on Coleraine.
Mhm.
That's got a more easily recognizable painting arrangement to
Is
it.
it the rail trail crossing? That's
Yeah,
why.
close by.
Which is where the crossing guard is.
Close by.
And in the afternoons, even the principal will come down and make sure the kids are using that
Mhm.
crosswalk.
Aren't there two crosswalks
so-
there?
So
There's
not
one
all
at the rail
cross,
trail.
so not all crosswalks get painted. One thing we've talked about, Mass dot
You
standard.
can't do them all.
Yes.
Mass dot standard does not incorporate paint in their crosswalk standards. They typically have whites with white perpendicular sort of slashes along. I know Beverly's incorporated that into some of their sidewalk and their crosswalk painting and designs downtown in Lothar Street and other areas that are highly densely populated. Yellow is typically the color within a certain zone of the school, and burgundy was a color someone chose at some time. We're talking about moving potentially away from the colored crosswalk because it does create a little more of a slick area for people when they're driving on it. And going with the Mass dot standard, which is that white with the white inside of it. But those are all things we're discussing. We usually paint them in the spring. Now is not the time to be painting when there's salt in the
Yeah,
ground.
that's why I was surprised that you said you'd do it Monday, but somebody said they do it Monday, but in those emails.
Oh, I said we discuss
We'll
it
talk about
Monday.
it.
Discuss
We're
it.
not painting on Monday.
Yeah, that's what I
After
thought,
this
you can't,
meeting,
you
we're
can't
painting.
paint,
Yeah.
you can't paint them in the winter.
No.
We like to be very responsive to our residents and to
Yeah.
our select board. We're not painting them today.
Yeah, so,
We'll get there, but not now.
so anyway, and I know they also, that particular couple probably uses that crosswalk in front of the church quite a bit, but they didn't mention it.
Well, that's a big
But I
one,
know if we do,
between Proctor and the church. Oh,
you walk straight out from the church's parking lot towards the common.
oh, yeah.
There's a crosswalk there painted. And I know when we get around to doing that, that would probably be noticed and appreciated. We included that one. And you know, we talked about some other fiscal issues at this meeting. And there was a number of comments about, by one participant, about making sure we retain the core character of Topsfield as we evolve. And maybe a little bit more ribald phraseology. So the other thing is, as far as the senior tax assistance goes, I managed to, at the police department luncheon, I managed to collar Representative Karen's and her legislative aide,
I saw you.
and they were interested in the update, so I gave the legislative aide my summary, and I think she's gonna review it with her. I don't know what they're gonna do about it. And I think at this point, Bruce may be a little sick of me talking about it, but I will slow
It's okay.
down, but I
It's
won't
okay.
stop.
It's okay.
Persistence.
Exactly.
It's a worthwhile
And-
project, keep going.
Yeah, and you know, this police department lunch is the second one I went to, the awards ceremony. I mean, this is a remarkable thing in team building, because these are not official state awards. You know, this is not a Massachusetts Police Department program. This is something that's, if I understand it, the chief created,
Pretty much.
and as a team building
Yes.
exercise. And, you know, I think it's a remarkable show of leadership that he was able to come up with this as a program for building morale and building an incentive for, you know, more than the usual achievements in public safety. And plus, it provides a wonderful opportunity for us or anybody that goes to the lunch to learn about, you know, what actually happens behind the scenes that you never hear about. And there are some remarkable stories there. And so, you know, I again congratulate the chief, you know, for putting these programs together, and congratulate those that got the awards, and everybody in public safety that worked so hard for this town. Now, while we were at the listening session, somebody noticed that the holiday lights were on during the day,
They're on timers.
Yeah,
They're on timers now.
okay, so we fixed that up, alright,
So they
Speaking of being responsive to citizens, within 48 hours, the timers were up.
good, thank you. So I would like to increase my reputation and loquaciousness for Boyd, but I'm not going to, I'm gonna
Now be careful.
I'm done. Thank you for listening.
Am I up?
Yes, Mr. Jackson.
Only comment I've got is, first of all, I was at the police, fire chief's luncheon the other day, and it's a wonderful thing he puts together. And for those of us that like to go to that, or some people, they learn about some of the events that take place that these people do that are exceptional, in my opinion. I would like to say that our fire department does the same thing. And we don't know enough about the kind of things that you guys do that are drastically important to the town. I have a scanner, and I listen to your calls, and I listen to the police department calls. I tell people that everybody ought to have a scanner so that we know what's going on, or what our fire department and our police department are doing. It would be wonderful if you and the police chief could get together and put together some kind of thing so that you could get some more notoriety for your department too, about the wonderful things that you guys do.
Yeah, a lot of what we do is protected health information, so that's one of the reasons why I forward letters from people and things like that, so the Topsfield Fire Department does really great work, but a lot of times it's very personal.
I understand that, and I'm not gonna debate that, that's your business, but I'm just I'd like you to be able to explain more about what your department does, because it's wonderful. The only other thing I wanna come out of is, every newspaper I read in the last week or week and a half talks about the fact that e-bikes are out of control. And the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the Boston Globe have all had articles about this. So we've got to continue to stress to support our police chief in giving him what he needs to try to support that. And Kevin, I think there's been some talk between you and the chief about that.
We have a warrant article this year,
Okay,
or a proposed warrant article.
okay, good. Okay, enough said.
Ms. Mercier-Link.
I've talked a lot tonight, so I have nothing.
You recognize who you're speaking to.
I know.
Okay, well, just to touch on one other thing, the holiday lunch, I do wanna say thank you to the Topsfield Fairgrounds. My understanding is they do donate the venue, so, and possibly even the food, I'm not entirely sure, but thank you for helping Chief to celebrate the department. Listening session, we touched upon the menorah lighting coming up on Wednesday. I think Hanukkah started last night.
Sundown. Yep.
But the rabbi is running around all over the North Shore, and I think they have menorah lightings
Running around.
like for 5 or 6 nights, 2 a night.
He's busy.
The other thing I did want to point out, speaking of volunteers, is the Wreaths Across America came through town again. So we have a couple of dedicated volunteers in town who raise money to purchase the wreaths. They come in on a truck. I don't know, do they get a police escort or a fire
They got a
escort?
fire escort, it was very, we're gonna make it better.
We're gonna make it better. I know they're always their goal is to have enough wreaths for every veteran that's up at the cemetery. They've been trying to get there every year. But just to say thank you to them, to the volunteers who helped raise the money, who helped organize, and who helped place the wreaths as well. It's not just a Topsfield thing, it's across America, as the name says, so thank you to the volunteers who did that. I think that their service is a little bit quieter than some of the others that we see in town. Okay, we already did the town administrator's report, so that brings us to correspondence. I alluded to it, we've got two things related to the fire department. First, kudos to the fire department, a thank you.
Always.
There's always one in there. But then also there's a thank you from the fire department, from Chief Collins Brown, related to tree removal. I was a little bit confused at first reading that letter. The fire department can be a difficult neighbor sometimes, I think. And
Well, we have odd hours, we have weird lights, we have noises, so we're a special type of people that live near us.
so just to know that there was somebody who had the skills and was able to help out.
No doubt.
A lot about what Kevin's been trying to do is building a team, right? There's not a, no, I don't work for your department, I'm somebody else. It's very much a, it's Topsfield, let's go. So kudos, getting and giving.
Trinity,
Thank you.
that's somebody from Gary's group?
Yeah, she did a great job without
I
damaging.
I would just comment, if we ever lose the ability for our important departments to work together, we've lost a real asset, in my opinion, because you guys work together and support each other all the time. And if we lose that, if we get to the point that that doesn't happen, it'd be a shame, and we gotta make sure that doesn't happen. Enough said.
Thank you. And just to echo what Mr. Hartunian said, I don't think we have another meeting until the new year, so happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Merry New Year, Happy New Year, everything. Stay safe, stay warm, and the town is here to help you if you need anything. So, happy holidays.
Thank you.
With that, any motions? I don't mean emotions. Are there any?
Yeah, there is motion to
Motions.
adjourn.
No, got it, yeah. Maybe I'll second. Second.
I just heard he seconded. Alright, all those in favor of adjourning? Aye.
Thank you.
There is a brunch coming up at Town Hall, what day?
Monday,
Monday.
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 right?
Yes.
I didn't.
You are not allowed to leave anywhere until you
We
sign
gotta decide
nearly
what you're gonna
everything.
bring
All
to the
those,
brunch.
all those
I
in
know,
favor
I
of
can't
adjourning?
remember what I brought last year.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye,
Now, what are you doing?
adjourning.
and voting to adjourn.
We already voted that.
No,
didn't
we voted.
Aye.
Any
No,
opposed?
You made the motion.
Any abstentions? No, 4-0, we're
It's
adjourned.
over with.